Chapter 270. However, the two men were a little embarrassed. Their wives loved to show off. "Chinya, do you have any acquaintances? Perhaps we can confirm it sooner." Yunlan asked curiously. Actually, even if he applied, he might be rejected. After all, it was very difficult to apply for a family. What he had just said was a boastful agreement. Dong Huang Baiji was only in charge of the aristocratic family's election. In the end, she only needed to take a look at the election and then sign her name. But for others, this signature was an earth-shattering change. Chinya said tenderly, "I really don't know this person." Yihua let out a breath. "Chinya, why are you being so low-key? You should have just said that I, the Supreme Overlord, am capable. With just a word from me, I can make them big shots to play with. Of course, with just a word from me, I can also exterminate their entire race." Yunlan and Qiu Yen didn't just simply reminisce about the past, they knew that Chinya's family was a bit powerful, and it was normal for Yunlan to want to help her husband. Yunlan and Qiu Yen let out a light sigh. "Originally, we thought that Chinya would be of some help. It is said that it is not safe right now. Chinya, you must be a bit more careful." Although he was unable to help Chinya, Yunlan still reminded Chinya. Chinya was very puzzled. How did they know about these things? Logically speaking, this kind of thing should be confidential. "What's wrong?" Chinya asked. Qiu Yan paused for a moment and said in a deep voice, "We heard that some people have come recently, causing those families to be on tenterhooks. Then why are you still trying to squeeze in? Can't you just live a good life?" Chinya was also persuading Yihua. The waters in this circle were too deep. If one were to be even slightly careless, one would invite a fatal disaster upon oneself. "That's right, Yihua is an expert." Yunlan smiled and said, "Isn't there a chance now? After all, once you enter this circle, there are a lot of resources that you can use. It's not that easy to be the patriarch." Yihua suddenly said. This caused everyone that was sitting at the table to slightly go into a daze, especially Chinya's classmates and those two men. "Why?" Yunlan asked curiously. Yihua said indifferently, "Among the family heads that I have seen before, those family heads all have groups of wives and concubines. Wang Debao, I'm innocent." Qin Song and Tang Han were startled. "You already have 2 wives, and we also want 2. You actually dare to undermine us. How hateful." As expected, the 2 women frowned when they heard this. "Just take that. What is it called?" "Chinya, tell me about it." Chinya rolled her eyes at Yihua. Her eyes were extremely charming, causing Yihua's heart to itch once again. "Now that I think about it, that Tang Wushuang has 7 to 8 wives, and that Xiao Yi seems to have 5 to 6 wives as well." Yihua's tone seemed as if he was talking about a salted fish. Seeing that the expression on the 2 women's faces was a bit bad, Yihua said faintly, "The head of a family still has to bear the risk, and it is possible that one day, your corpse might end up lying on the streets. The entertainment circle is very chaotic, it is most suitable for you to be an ordinary person." This was also because Yihua was giving Chinya face that he spoke out to persuade Chinya to not get involved in his plans in the future. If that were to happen, Chinya would really die without a complete corpse. What Yihua said is right. Don't look at how those family heads appear to be extremely glorious on the surface, in reality, they are always on tenterhooks all day long. Have you heard of Ding family? Chinya said gravely. This could be counted as a warning to her old classmate. The 4 shook their heads. They had never heard of the Ding clan. Have you heard of aristocratic families? The 4 of them shook their heads again. Chinya said faintly, aristocratic families are above aristocratic families, and Ding family is one of the 5 aristocratic families. Today, Ding family was exterminated. The four of them were immediately stupefied. Right now, we haven't even figured out which aristocratic families are, and an existence that is even more formidable than the aristocratic families just jumped out and got exterminated. If that is the case, wouldn't the ordinary aristocratic families be even more miserable? Don't leak out this matter, if not, it will bring about unnecessary trouble. Chinya warned once again. The four hurriedly nodded their heads. Exterminated. I don't even dare to think about it. Chinya, your husband, he. Yunlan asked gravely. Chinya let out a light sigh. There are even stronger existences above aristocratic families. Yihua was injured during the battle with them. The four of them looked at Yihua dumbfoundedly. I originally thought that aristocratic families are already very formidable, but it turns out that there are still people above aristocratic families. And this man who is sitting on a wheelchair was actually able to fight with them and not die. From this, it can be seen just how terrifying his strength is. Towards this kind of warning, we definitely have to listen to it. The four of them could be seen standing up and saying to Yihua, "Thank you for telling us all these, we will never forget it in our lives." Yihua laughed bitterly in his heart. In the past, I specialized in killing people, and now, I am even advising people. There is nothing bad about being an ordinary person. At the very least, with your current conditions, you will be able to sit back and relax. Don't think about anything else. Yihua said lightly. From this, it could be seen that the change in Yihua was quite big. Perhaps, this is the power of love. Of course, this change wasn't complete. Yihua still didn't have a good impression of humans, but it was still much better than before. Hearing what Yihua said, the four of them silently nodded their heads. As for how they are going to choose, that will be their own matter. However, in the end, humans will never be satisfied with their current situation. They will want to climb as high as they can, even if it means that their bodies will be smashed into pieces. Perhaps, a few years later, Yihua will look at their corpses and say these words. After the meal, the four of them left. Yihua continued to bring his wife and children to play in the amusement park. Chinya, come over. What's the matter? Do you want to pee? Hold it in, I will pee for you when we get back. Yihua, tell me what mistake you made today, quickly admit your mistake. Yihua reprimanded with a stern look on his face. Dong Huang Baiji carried on to Dong Huang Li, who was sleeping soundly, and looked at Yihua with a smile on her face. I don't know why, but I just like seeing Yihua reprimand people. Yihua's appearance is just like a child. Chinya was confused and mumbled, I didn't do anything wrong today. My lord, which part of me is not happy with you? I will change, okay? As my wife, other than me and our children, no one else can touch you. Chinya recalled, wasn't it just a girl holding my hand for a bit? He was indeed the vinegar king of the cultivation world. Okay. I promise to obey my husband's request in the future. Yihua was very satisfied with this attitude of his. However, he still had to ask a few questions. Chinya, in the future, if I meet a female classmate, how should I greet her? Yihua asked gravely. Chinya was startled and said hurriedly, just smile. Wrong. I can't even go and see my female classmates. Yihua raised his hand and smacked onto Chinya's little butt. Fortunately, no one saw it. Chinya pouted her small mouth, looking very lovely and pitiful. What if I get angry in the future? Yihua asked again. Chinya pondered for a moment, then said hesitantly, I'm coaxing you. Yihua raised his hand and clapped, wrong. You shouldn't have made me angry in the first place. Dong Huang Baiji immediately noted down Yihua's question. If Yihua were to ask her about it in the future, she would be able to answer him. Chinya rubbed onto her but pitifully, Yihua, you are bullying me again, I'm not going to play with you anymore. After finished speaking, Qingye pulled Donghuang Baiji and left. Seeing that his wives had left, Yihua thought to himself, I will teach them a lesson tonight and let them have a taste of my bone-melting soft palm. Yihua immediately spread open his hands and gathered a powerful force, then grabbed onto the tire and rolled forward. Chapter 271. In the dry Zen sect, all the corpses of the Ding family had disappeared, and the smooth limestone was untainted by even a speck of dust. No one would have thought that this place was once filled with rivers of blood. Inside the hall, His Honor, who was dressed in a gorgeous robe, was sitting on the throne above the stairs. His eerie bony fingers were pressed on the armrest, and his empty eye socket seemed to be staring at his 7 subordinates. My patience has been worn out by foolish humans. His cold tone made the 7 subordinates tremble, and they immediately knelt down. This subordinate has failed in his duty. A trembling voice rang out in the empty hall. His Honor slowly stood up. Since the humans don't dare to come, I shall exterminate them one by one. Yes. Greed, pick 3 targets first. His Honor said calmly. Upon hearing that someone had been killed, everyone from the 7 deadly sins became excited. Yes. Greedily, he took out a bunch of bamboo sticks with the names of various forces written on them. He placed them in the wooden box and shook them gently. Swoosh 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 sounds rang out in the main hall. The fate of all the forces was in the hands of this small bamboo stick. The first 3 sticks that fell out would definitely be the result of the annihilation of the entire clan. One of the small bamboo sticks gradually moved up, but it gave people the feeling that it didn't want to come out, but the other bamboo sticks wanted to squeeze it out. Clang! The bamboo lot fell to the ground. He picked it up and glanced at it greedily. Your Honor, the first target has appeared. Who? Southern Ji clan. Although they didn't know what kind of family it was, they didn't really care. It was fine as long as it was people. Greed continued to sway. Your Honor, the second target has appeared, the South Side's Traceless Pavilion. It continued to shake. Third target, Southern Cloud Martial School. Greed put away the bamboo stick. He still had to use it in the future. This kind of killing method was very exciting. His Honor said faintly, 1 per day, I want to enjoy the cries of the humans. Yes. This sentence meant that many people wouldn't die very quickly. The Dry Zen sect and the Ding family were considered lucky as they didn't suffer any pain. The 8 of them disappeared from the Dry Zen sect hall and headed for their first target, the Ji family. Right now, Yihua had brought his family back to Leisure Bar. The little fellow was already tired from playing and was currently sleeping in his mother's embrace. As for Qingye, she pushed Yihua and prepared to return to the bedroom. Wait a minute, what are Yizizi and the others doing? Yihua suddenly said. What else can they be doing, playing games? Qingye smiled tenderly. Arriving at Qing Yutong's bedroom, the 2 of them were not sitting beside the computer, rather, they were lying on the bed while holding onto their phone, and were engrossed in playing something. Strange, these 2 people actually didn't want to eat chicken. What are you doing? Yihua asked. Brother-in-law, don't speak, I am stealing a dragon with Zizi. Qing Yutong said cautiously, as if her words might be heard by the enemy. With her brows tightly wrinkled, Zizi pouted her mouth and said, Big brother, Zizi has already knelt for so many times, what kind of game would cause Zizi to lose? Yihua expressed that he was very curious, and indicated to Qingye to move forward a bit to take a look. However, as soon as he saw the screen, he saw the word failure. A childish voice sounded from the other side of the phone. Are you too stupid? Others have already pushed their way into our house, and you're still playing Dalong. Yizizi was not willing to accept this outcome, and she crazily rolled around on the bed, while Qing Yutong was actually quarreling with a primary school student. Yihua snorted coldly, just a lousy game is enough to make the two of you so flustered. Chinya, help me with the next one. Yihua, it's better not to play anymore and rest early. Chinya said attentively, her tone was extremely gentle. Yihua took out his phone and said faintly, hurry up and go down. Although I can't bring you guys to the chicken dinner, can't this small mobile game help you guys to win? Haha. Yizizi was already cheating, but she still couldn't take on 3 to 4 people ganging up on her. Yizizi was angered to the point that she wanted to suck them to death. Shameless humans only know how to use human wave tactics. Yutong, what game is it called? It's Kings of Glory. Brother-in-law, you better go and rest well, this game isn't simple. Yihua sneered, I like games that aren't simple. After the game was over, Chinya accompanied Yihua and watched by his side, while Yihua formed a party with his sister-in-law, Yizizi. Yihua chose Di Renjia, who looked rather handsome. Yutong, Zizi. Follow me. After entering the game, Yihua began giving out orders. Everything was within his grasp. The three walked to the middle lane, and Yihua said faintly, destroy the tower. Qing Yutong, Yizizi, brother-in-law, let's go to the bottom lane, I beg of you, big brother, why are you even worse than an elementary school student? Qingya laughed tenderly and gave a sweet kiss to Yihua, encouraging him. Looking at Qingya's kiss, I won't scold you guys. Yihua obediently walked down from the middle lane. Buddhist temple is really not good. Yihua looked at the screen that had turned black. There are actually 5 burly men hiding in the bushes, and they actually gang-killed me. Brother-in-law, I beg of you not to send me off. Big brother, don't be reckless. Yihua, seems like you can't do it. Qingya laughed tenderly. I, the Supreme Overlord, am going to fight with you guys. Cunning humans. Di Renjia, who was level 1, walked to the bottom lane and immediately saw the 2 heroes in front of him. When have I, the Supreme Overlord, ever been afraid? Qing Yutong held on to her forehead, I got killed in the bottom lane. Yizizi shouted out, big brother, don't send me off, can you just hang up? Seems like this is still a game of intelligence. I, the Supreme Overlord, should stabilize the situation first, then continue fighting. As expected, Yihua didn't send me off and calmly dealt the finishing blow. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? Qing Yutong was in pain. What are you shouting for? Can't you guys see that I am still developing? You guys hold on first, wait until my equipment is ready, I will naturally win. 20 minutes passed, and Yihua's godly equipment finally came out. 4 of his teammates had already been killed, and facing the 5th brother, Di Renjia could only pick up the soap. Failure. Do I have a grudge against games? Death Mage and Sun Fong, who were far away from Ming family, were also playing. Sun Fong leaned onto the hard bone and said with a smile, this Di Renjia is so silly, he was just farming money from start to finish. GGG Imperial Translation, that's right, he is even more of an elementary school student. If they were to know that the person in front of them was the Supreme Overlord, they would immediately choose to be actors. Yihua, I will go and rest first, don't get angry and harm your body. Qingya said sweetly, and before leaving, she didn't forget to give Yihua a long kiss. However, the current Yihua didn't have the mood to experience it. After Qingya left, Yihua stood up and said to Yizizi, lie down a bit. Yizizi pouted her small mouth. The big pit is still going to continue harming people. Lying on Yizizi's bed, Yihua said gravely, I know how to play now. Dong Wangli woke up very early and wanted to give her daddy a kiss, but in the end, her daddy wasn't in the bedroom. Where did daddy go? Yihua pushed open the door of Qing Yutong's bedroom and immediately saw her father. Chapter 272. Could he not die? The addition of Yihua had completely increased the difficulty of the game. Zizi, go scout the bushes. Cousin, I'm a sorcerer, and you're a meat shield. Yi Zizi was depressed. Yihua shouted out gravely, if I, the meat shield, were to die, who would help you guys deal damage? At that time, would you still have the chance to kill the enemies? There seemed to be nothing wrong with those words. Yutong, protect me. Yihua shouted out. Huang Zhong, who was in the game, could be seen gradually getting closer to Arthur and sticking close to him to protect him. The damage dealer can die, but the tank cannot die. It would be strange if he didn't lose for the whole night. Daddy, what are you two playing? Dong Huangli jumped onto the bed and asked curiously. So it's King of Glory. Ali is already a King of Glory. The three of them looked towards Dong Huangli at the same time. Their expressions seemed to be asking, is a Glory King powerful? The three of them were all matching, and they didn't even know what bronze was. Looking at his daughter's sweet smile, Yihua's mood became much better. Ali, is this Glory King powerful? Of course, top 100 in the entire server. Little Ali, please carry me, Qing Yutong hurriedly said. Yi Zizi immediately hugged onto Dong Huangli. Ali, quickly help me win a round. Okay. I'll go ask Mama for her phone. However, 1 hour later, only then did Dong Huangli know what was meant by unable to carry along. So it turns out that Aunt Qing and Aunt Yi are such scammers, and the scammer of all is still Daddy. Seeing that I am being bullied, Daddy mindlessly rushed up to fight back. Although he is a scam, I really like Papa Yihua, who was currently playing a game, received Wei Chang's message. Your Honor, Ji family has been exterminated. Ji family? Never heard of it. Yihua was concentrating on playing the game. Actually, winning or losing wasn't important, the most important thing was to accompany his daughter. In actuality, Subordinate has never heard of them either. However, according to the news that Sun Fang sent over, this group of people are extremely cruel and have the demeanor of His Honor back then. There's such a thing. Let's keep it for now. Yes. I didn't expect that this group of people's style of doing things would be so similar to the Supreme Overlord style. While I feel that it's interesting, I also feel confused. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji suddenly appeared, and their expressions were very solemn. Yihua knew that they definitely knew about the news as well. Yihua, I want to make a trip back to Voidless Realm. I will go there with Baiji, Qingye said. Yihua placed down his phone and asked gravely, where are you guys going? Dong Huang Baiji blinked her beautiful eyes, then said with a tender voice, I'm just going back to have a meeting. What about you? Yihua asked Qingye. Baiji said that she would teach me how to use the cultivation method. Yihua thought for a moment, then said gravely, if you two dare to not inform me and decide on your own, I will smack your butts until they swell. Daddy, you are so handsome, Dong Huangli raised up her thumb. Mommy is so obedient in front of Daddy, she is even more obedient than Dong Huangli. The two girls agreed with a smile. If you all leave, who will take care of me? Yihua asked this question that he was concerned about. Qingye took a look at Yi Zizi, then looked at her sister, Yutong, I will leave your brother-in-law to you. Ah! Qing Yutong cried out in surprise, and while looking at her brother-in-law, she shivered. After that, the two women left first. After Dong Huangli finished playing the game, Dong Huangli instantly left. Aunt Qing and Aunt Yi are both such scammers, and Daddy is the most scammer. It is better for me to go and watch cartoons. After his daughter left, Yihua said faintly, Yutong, aren't you going to help me change my clothes? Brother-in-law, stop pretending, big sister is not here anymore. Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth. I have already been tricked by you for the entire night, I beg you to let me off. Yihua immediately put on a stern look, you aren't even listening to my words. Quickly come over and lie down. Yi Zizi immediately shrunk into a corner. Brother-in-law, hurry up. I haven't taught you a lesson for a few days, and you've become very naughty. Actually, his hands were itching to spank her. Not to mention, spanking his sister-in-laws but was particularly stimulating. Qin Yutong looked towards Yizizi for help, and the latter immediately covered her head with the quilt. Brother-in-law, be gentle. Qin Yutong lied on Yihua's thigh, and her face was completely red. I'm going to be spanked by brother-in-law again, I'm so happy. The room was filled with a beautiful symphony. After a long time, Yihua sat on the wheelchair and came out, then went to the bedroom to sleep. Qin Yutong rubbed her buttocks, so painful, so numb. Big sister Qing, does it feel good? Yizizi stretched out her head and asked curiously. Good your head, I'm tired to death. Time to sleep. Qin Yutong said petulantly. Qin Yutong lied on the bed, not daring to lie down anymore. Masochist. Yizizi muttered, then went to sleep as well. However, while the few of them were sleeping, the entire cultivation world was in a mess. Everyone was in danger and panicking. Everyone wrote a joint letter to the aristocratic families, and the aristocratic families were suffering unspeakably. A bunch of family heads and sect heads were surrounding the doors of their houses, asking for an explanation. These few aristocratic families are the sons of turtles. After something happened, they all shrunk into a corner. One of the family heads was indignant. After paying so much money to the aristocratic families every year, and now, during the crucial moment, all of them are hiding, not caring about anything at all. It has only been a few days. Dry Zen sect has been exterminated, Ding family is finished, and Ji family is also finished. I heard that right now, there are still blood-curdling screams coming out from Ji family. This won't do, we must definitely get the aristocratic families to go out. They have ancient godly items, if they don't dare to go out, then hand over the ancient godly item. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Hand over the ancient godly item, you all are not worthy to possess it. Shouts rang out from outside. And the four aristocratic families' family heads that are sitting inside are also in a difficult situation. The big shots above are not willing to go out, so what's the use of us going out? Aren't we just throwing away our lives? They are heartless, so we don't need to be loyal anymore. Diao Lang stood up and directly walked out. The other three also followed closely behind. It is not that we don't want to interfere, but rather, we don't have the strength to interfere at all. Diao Lang stood in the air and shouted towards the few hundred people, various family heads, various colleagues, various brothers and sisters. Everyone, don't panic. Colleagues, your sister, quickly go and kill that group of people. The people below didn't give him any face at all and started scolding. When have aristocratic families ever been scolded before? But in this kind of situation, they are the ones being scolded. Marshal Saint's temper isn't good, and he shouted out explosively, all of you shut up. As expected, only martial power can suppress them. Diao Lang sighed lightly, everyone, we have already reported this matter, but the big shots are basically avoiding us. We have no choice. How is this possible? The responsibility of the big shots is to stabilize the south, you are definitely lying. Immediately, the people below became as noisy as a market. All of them are overlords of a region, yet right now, they are acting like hawkers. Ing family and Voidless Realm strength suffered greatly from the battle, and they didn't agree to help us. And now, Ji family is refusing to meet us, and we are suffering too. Diao Lang shouted out loudly. His heart was filled with helplessness. If you all want to look for those big shots, what's the use of looking for us? Chapter 273. The various family heads had heard of this battle before, and right now, with Diao Lang's confirmation, they were all endlessly astonished. For the sake of the South's glory, Ing family fought against Voidless Realm, but this damnable G family, who is extremely powerful, is actually hiding right now. Let G family come out and fight them. Right. G clan is the strongest. Everyone, don't panic. We will go to G family to hang a banner to demonstrate our strength. The 4 of you will lead the group. That's right. Let's go on a demonstration. I'm going to buy a speaker stereo. I'm going to buy a banner. I'll go get more people. The 4 clan heads looked at each other. What should they do? The matter was getting bigger and bigger. Whatever, let's just bring them to the G family. The rest is none of our business. Tian said in a deep voice. He was having a headache because of this matter. When these people were afraid, they were not afraid of anything. The 3 of them nodded silently. This was the only way. Meanwhile, in Voidless Realm, Donghuang Baiji brought Qinya along to attend an important meeting. In the beginning, Qinya rejected Donghuang Baiji, but Donghuang Baiji said, "We are a family now, there's nothing that can't be said." In the end, Donghuang Baiji dragged Qinya into the palace hall. Qinya told Donghuang Baiji that it would be fine for her to sit at the lower seat and listen to the conversation, and she didn't want to sit together with Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji could only arrange one seat. In the palace hall, other than Yuanda, Xinghan, and He Xian, there were also 5 new generals from Voidless Realm. However, they didn't say anything about it. After all, Qinya and the Empress were family, and she had also helped push back the Ying family during the battle. Thus, she had contributed greatly to the battle. Meanwhile, Yuanda and the other 2 were even more speechless. She had the bloodline of Nuwa, and it wouldn't be a problem for her to be on equal footing with the Empress. Your Majesty, the South is facing a great calamity. Should we help? Yuanda brought up the most important topic of this meeting. Should they help? He Xian cupped his hands and said, "Your Majesty, this is a matter of the South. It's better for us northern forces not to interfere." Xinghan agreed with He Xian's words, "Your Majesty, Voidless Realm's vitality is greatly injured, and it is not suitable for Voidless Realm to fight again." How could Donghuang Baiji not know about these things? However, when she heard that families were being exterminated one after another, she couldn't bear it. "Qinya, do you have any opinion?" Donghuang Baiji chose to ask Qinya. Standing from Voidless Realm's point of view, Voidless Realm indeed shouldn't go out to battle. However, standing from a moral point of view, Voidless Realm has to fight against evil forces. I suggest we don't. For the sake of the entire Voidless Realm, Qinya gave her own suggestion. After all, one shouldn't joke around with other people's lives. Donghuang Baiji let out a light sigh. She finally understood. All of you can leave now, we will discuss this later. Donghuang Baiji waved her hand. Soon, only the 2 of them were left in the hall. Qinya, it's convenient for you to speak now. As an empress, Donghuang Baiji's eyesight was still quite good. Qinya laughed lightly, it is still Baiji who understands me. Pausing for a moment, Qinya continued, this group of people is very strong. Sending too many people would just be sending them to their deaths. You're saying? Donghuang Baiji wrinkled her brows and asked. Both of us will go. Donghuang Baiji didn't expect that Qinya would be so daring. After being shocked, Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but praise Qinya endlessly. As expected of the woman chosen by Yi Hua, she isn't just a flower vase. This courage was rare. All right. Let's go. The 2 of them hit it off immediately. However, the excited expression on their faces immediately crumbled, both of them thought of the same problem. Qinya, you have a good relationship with Yi Hua, you should go and beg him. Donghuang Baiji said sneakily, seemingly afraid that Yi Hua would find out about this. Qinya shook her head, he likes your high and mighty attitude. You should go back and display your empress aura and make him allow us to go. Donghuang Baiji immediately cowered. I don't dare to, Qingya. It is better for you to go and act coquettishly. How about we go and seduce him together? Qingya came up with a good idea. In actuality, Yi Hua was quite susceptible to this idea. Will it work? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. It will definitely work. Qingya was very certain. Donghuang Baiji smiled gently. Let's go, I will go and teach you how to use the technique. And, we have to hurry up. If Yi Hua were to know of their thoughts, he would definitely teach them a lesson. Do you two think that this is a game? Do you two think that you can run away just because you can't win? You two are truly two wives who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Early morning, Yi Hua, who was on the bed, slightly opened his eyes. Touching his side, he discovered that it was empty. The two of them actually didn't return. What is the meaning of this? Are they rebelling against the heavens? Don't they know that there is a disabled person at home that they have to take care of? Your Honor. Traceless Pavilion has been exterminated, but the pavilion master is not around. Wei Chang's voice rang out in Yi Hua's mind. Traceless Pavilion's pavilion master, Gu Zheng, was currently on a demonstration, completely unaware that his Traceless Pavilion had been exterminated. It was precisely because of this that Gu Zheng was able to escape from this calamity. Yi Hua said, this group of people's speed is rather fast, 1 per day. Your Honor, should we take action? What action? Call the police. After cutting off the connection with Wei Chang, Yi Hua stood up, lit up a stick of cigarette, and looked towards the hotpot restaurant that was not far away from him. Is there someone controlling me to force me to appear? Or am I thinking too much? There will always be some people who think that they are able to challenge my dignity, but in the end, they will still die. No Zuanadier ripples suddenly appeared, and Yi Hua immediately jumped onto the bed. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji could be seen appearing in the bedroom. While looking at Yi Hua, who was sleeping soundly, the smell of cigarette drifted in the air. One can even smoke while sleeping. Yi Hua, wake up. Qingya shook Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, and called out tenderly. After opening his eyes, Yi Hua looked at the two women. You two have returned. Did you smoke just now? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. I did smoke just now, then I lied down again. Looking at the cigarette, but that was below the window, Qingya asked confusedly, why is the cigarette but below the window? What the hell, what do you two mean by this? Are you interrogating me? I haven't even said that you two didn't return home at night. It was flicked over there. What did you two do? You two didn't even return home. Yi Hua began changing the topic and asked with a straight face. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other, then began acting according to the plan. The two women could be seen immediately leaning onto Yi Hua's two sides, then reaching their hands into Yi Hua's clothes and caressing onto his sturdy chest. Yi Hua, the two women called out sweetly and even gave Yi Hua a kiss, causing Yi Hua to be very intoxicated. No. They are unaccountably solicitous. To actually use seduction, this is indeed brilliant. Needless to say, this is definitely Qingya's wicked idea. Yi Hua, let's prepare to go and meet those people. Qingya kissed onto Yi Hua's cheek and said tenderly. Donghuang Baiji was the same as well. Yi Hua's face was filled with red lipstick marks. As a man, it is already enough. Is this all you have? If that's the case, you are underestimating my willpower too much. No. You two better stay at home obediently. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji knew that it would be like this. The two women's hands reached into Yi Hua's pajamas. This caused Yi Hua's brows to raise up. Ruthless enough. So comfortable, Donghuang Baiji said shyly, Yi Hua, Just let us go, and we will go tomorrow, then come back the day after tomorrow and accompany you to sleep. Chinya bit onto her lower lip. This action of hers nearly caused Yihua to go crazy. Chapter 274. Yihua, who was feeling extremely good, nodded his head. However, with this nod, that soft little hand disappeared, and the comfortable feeling disappeared in an instant. When he opened his eyes, not even a strand of hair could be seen. If not for the lingering fragrance, Yihua would have thought that he was dreaming. He rubbed his forehead. These two liars. You actually dared to lie to me. Great, I have already promised them. Could it be that I am going to go back on my words? This isn't my character. The words of this sovereign cannot be taken back. However, the plan had already been messed up, and with their meager abilities, they would only be sending themselves to death. It seems that I still have to go personally. Since they plan to go tomorrow, he would help them settle it tonight. Let's go meet that counterfeit. Wei Chang. Yihua said indifferently. Your Honor, do you have any instructions? Tonight, we'll make a trip there and destroy them. Although Wei Chang didn't know why His Honor suddenly wanted to make a move, Wei Chang didn't ask much and replied respectfully. Right now, Chinya was currently undergoing Dong Huang Baiji's devilish training and was preparing for tomorrow's big battle. However, she didn't know that Yihua was going to sweep away all the obstacles for them tonight. As expected of a wife-doting maniac. The news of the destruction of Traceless Pavilion quickly swept through the entire southern forces, causing the panic to become more and more intense. All of the sects and clans closed their doors, sent their disciples on leave, and scattered all over the place. However, the north seemed to be gloating. Ji family was located in a dense forest in the southwest, and the forest was similar to Voidless Realm. There was a layer of barrier outside the forest. However, this barrier was a lot weaker than Voidless Realm's barrier. However, to Yihua, this barrier was just a matter of a cigarette butt. At this time, there were thousands of people gathered outside the barrier. There were banners everywhere, and there were also many speakers. This is bad. Not good. A man appeared in the sky and shouted with a panicked expression. What's wrong? Did something happen again? Traceless Pavilion has been exterminated. At this time, Gu was holding a megaphone and scolding the Ji family for being shameless and did not pay attention to the situation behind. Pavilion Master Guy. Stop shouting, something big has happened. The person behind patted Guzheng. Guzheng turned around and shouted, what's the big deal? What we need to do now is to persuade the Ji family to come out. Your Traceless Pavilion has been destroyed. Gu Zheng's face stiffened, and the loudspeaker in his hand fell to the ground. What did you say? Don't destroy my Traceless Pavilion. Yeah, I just got the news. Gu Zheng suddenly covered his forehead, as if he was about to collapse. Fortunately, someone behind him caught him. After a long time, Gu Zheng stood up. His eyes were bloodshot, and a stream of spiritual energy gathered in his hand. Without saying anything, he hit the barrier. You cowards! Come out! Bang bang bang! The fist struck the barrier, but it did not even cause a ripple. Everyone fell silent. In the face of such a powerful enemy, they were helpless. Even the giants did not dare to go out. How were they supposed to live like this? What are you all staring blankly for? Today, my Traceless Pavilion was exterminated. Tomorrow, it might be your turn. If the Ji family doesn't step in, we will all die. Gu Zheng's words were quite useful. All the elders started to attack Ji family's barrier, but it was still insignificant. Inside Ji family, the three brothers sat under the pavilion and drank tea, not caring about the life and death of the people outside. Big brother, I might as well go out and get rid of all of them. Ji snorted coldly. he was looking down on these people. Jiting laughed. Second brother, if we were to get rid of these people, we would have to bear the infamy. Are we going to be scolded by them every day? Ji was extremely gloomy. I didn't expect that I wouldn't be able to do anything to them even though they came to my doorstep to cause a ruckus. As the family master, Ji Zizhen had a slight smile on his face as he slowly placed down the teacup. They will leave after a few days of scolding. At that time, we can just casually charge them with a crime and kill a few of them to intimidate them. Big brother is wise. Ji calmed down his anger, then cupped his hands and said. But then again, these people are still very arrogant. If not for the fact that we have to pin down the other two giants, we would have gotten rid of them in a few minutes. Ji Zizhen laughed lightly. Then, he picked up the teapot, poured another cup of tea, and filled it up for his two brothers. Thank you, big brother. The corner of Ji Zizhen's mouth raised slightly. In the future, I will have to trouble my two brothers with a lot of hard work. Being loyal to Ji family is our duty. Big brother is being too serious. The two brothers stood up and said respectfully. Ji Zizhen was very satisfied with his two brothers' attitude. Today, Yihua had nothing to do. His wives weren't by his side, and there wasn't even anyone for him to kiss. Right now, he could only bring his daughter to watch cartoons. Daddy, why can't Grey Wolf eat the sheep every time? It's so pitiful. Dong Huangli, who was lying in her father's embrace, asked curiously. This question made Yihua a bit happy. Seems like daughters still take after their fathers. Yihua laughed lightly. Grey Wolf is just playing with the flock of sheep. If he really wants to eat the sheep, it would be very easy for him to do so. Dong Huangli didn't really understand. Yihua taught his daughter attentively. The strong disdains to kill the weak, but they can control the weak to entertain themselves. Since Qinya and Dong Huangbaiji weren't around, Yihua began instilling crooked logic into his daughter again. Then, is Ollie strong or weak? Dong Huangli poked her little hands. From what Daddy said, it seems like I am weak. Yihua laughed. Ollie will naturally become strong in the future. Everyone will have to listen to Ollie's words. Is that so? Ollie wants to become strong in the future. But Ollie wants to accompany Daddy. Dong Huangli hugged onto her father, as if she won't be able to be together with her father if she becomes strong. While caressing onto his daughter's back, Yihua said faintly, Ollie, being independent is something that every child should have. You won't be able to stay by Daddy and Mommy's side all the time. You also have your own sky. Whoa, Ollie doesn't want to be independent. Ollie wants to be together with Daddy forever and take care of Daddy. Yihua was helpless. Children are like this, they are especially attached to their parents. Let's talk about it when Ollie grows up a bit. If it really doesn't work, I'll just release Ollie. My children have to learn how to stand on their own, no matter if it's a boy or a girl. This is for their own good. In this world where the weak are prey to the strong, one can only rely on oneself. Parents are only there to assist and guide them. After Yihua finished watching cartoons with Ollie, in the afternoon, Yihua personally taught Ollie techniques. It must be said that Ollie was a very fast learner. For a child, Ollie only needed to be taught once or twice, and Ollie would be able to learn some superficial knowledge. The sky gradually darkened, and after eating dinner with everyone, Yihua accompanied his daughter to play King of Glory. After tricking the three girls, Yihua carried his daughter who was sleeping soundly and placed her onto the big bed. While he was at it, Yihua cast a spell on his daughter, allowing his daughter to fall asleep. Yihua even cast a mirror image spell on his daughter. If his two wives were to come back and see that he wasn't around, it wouldn't be good. This time, Yihua didn't plan to bring a lot of people with him. Thus, he only called Wei Chong along. Chapter 275. The two of them came to the sky above the Ji clan and looked down at the entire land. This Shi clan was quite rich, and they all had luxurious manners. I, the Supreme Overlord, am thrifty enough, a good family man. Right now, faint screams of pain could still be heard coming out from Ji family. Judging from this, the situation inside the Ji family was not very optimistic. However, Yihua didn't care about it. Your Honor, subordinate will be able to settle this matter by myself. Your Honor can just stay here and watch. Wei Chang bowed slightly and said with boundless sincerity. Yihua silently took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. My original Supreme Overlord was also imitated, and I really want to meet that imitated person. When this group of people offended his honor, it was already a crime punishable by death. His honor's dignity cannot be trampled on by anyone. Wei Chang shouted out gravely, and the aura that erupted out from Wei Chang's body was even denser than that day. This attracted the attention of the people below, and they all looked towards the sky. Yihua said calmly, Wei Chang, just follow me down. Yes. As they spoke, the two of them landed in the Ji family's manor. The entire place was filled with the stench of blood, and the surrounding grass was littered with severed limbs. It was a nauseating sight. While smoking, Yihua walked at the front, and Wei Chang respectfully followed behind Yihua. Save me, save me. A man could be seen suddenly coming back to life, and upon seeing Yihua and Wei Chang's appearance, the man hurriedly cried for help as he slowly crawled towards the two of them. Fresh blood could be seen on the grass, and upon seeing this scene, one's heart couldn't help but sink. Yihua silently took a look at it, then continued walking towards the luxurious villa that was not far away from him. Wei Chang glanced at him and waved his hand, giving the man a quick death. The man died with his eyes wide open. I originally thought that he was here to save someone, but I didn't expect that. From start to finish, Yihua was never a good person, and as his subordinate, Yihua was even more so. Standing next to the fountain, the pool was dyed red with fresh blood. It was a ghastly sight. The screams coming from the villa seemed to have stopped. It seemed like the villa had discovered Yihua and Bai Xiaochun. Wei Chang, these families sure know how to enjoy life. Yihua flicked the cigarette ash inside. In the past, he would also enjoy himself, but those were all fleeting clouds. Only when he was with someone important to him would he be able to enjoy himself wherever he went. Wei Chang said respectfully, humans earn money so that they can enjoy themselves. This has never changed. Yes, by the way, I doubled your salary. Wei Chang was so touched that he immediately kneeled down. Thank you, Your Honor. What's so good about that? Those were all added by Qinya. I, the Supreme Overlord, am even poorer than you. When thinking about Qinya, Yihua laughed bitterly. Ah! Wei Chang was shocked. Yihua's expression changed, and he said coldly, It's good that you know about this matter. If this matter were to be spread out, I will order you to break up with little Tang. This subordinate doesn't dare. Wei Chang hurriedly expressed his stance. He felt that he knew too much. The door of the villa opened, and 4 figures slowly walked out. This caused Yihua to be a bit surprised. This skeleton is too similar. That expression, that walking posture, that pretentious aura, how could it be so similar? Also, that robe was still in the ring. How could he have it? Yihua couldn't help but sigh. This is too similar. Looking at Yizizi again, although they were not exactly the same, the expression on her face was reflected. Her signature ponytail swayed behind her head, making her look like a cute little loli. The man in the suit should be the imitation Wei Chang, not bad. However, that person who has the appearance of a youth should be Lai Gu. His entire person is emitting out a coquettish aura. Who are you? His Honor asked calmly. Even this impostor's tone is so similar. This is a bit interesting, I didn't waste my time coming here. In order to prevent his body from getting injured, Yehua revealed his original form. A skeleton appeared in front of the four people's eyes. The imitation Yizizi was dumbstruck as he looked left and right. To his honor. Not only Yizizi, even the imitation Wei Chang was a bit stupefied. The imitation Wei Chang came back to his senses and shouted out angrily, audacious. To actually imitate his honor. The two arms suddenly transformed into ferocious mutated beasts, and the rows of sharp teeth that seemed like they were able to bite through all of the tools in the world, and the mucus on the two arms was even more disgusting. After Wei Chang saw the two arms, he was also endlessly shocked. This is too similar. The two mutated beasts rushed towards Yehua. Yehua took a puff of the cigarette. Yehua, who did not have a body, looked just like a death mage. Wei Chang, do you have a younger brother? Yehua turned his head around and asked curiously. Wei Chang smiled modestly, Your Honor, subordinate doesn't have any brothers. What a pity. Your Honor, leave these three counterfeits to subordinate. Killing intent appeared in Wei Chang's eyes. To actually dare to be impudent in front of his honor. What a scandal. Take your time, don't scare them. Yes. Wei Chang's entire right arm could be seen wriggling, and just like the one in front of him, Wei Chang transformed into a mutated beast. However, the size of the mutated beast in Wei Chang's right arm was much bigger, and there was no other difference. However, having a bigger size meant that the mouth was bigger. With a single bite, the two mutated beasts were forcefully pulled down from their bodies and swallowed. The imitation Wei Chang was very shocked. When he retracted his arms, there was no sign of his arms being cut off. The three of you, come over here. Wei Chang pointed at the three imitation Wei Chang and shouted out, then walked to the side. His honor said faintly, Go. When underlings fight with underlings, the boss will definitely fight with the boss. I wish to ask you a few questions. Yehua said faintly. I wish to ask you a few questions as well. His honor said. The tone of the two were exactly the same, and it was impossible to tell who was real and who was fake. If one really wanted to tell who was real and who was fake, then one could only tell based on one's strength. Yehua flicked away the cigarette and asked, Where did you come from? I naturally came from another world. Where did you come from? Oh. He actually came from another world as well. Could it be that he came from the same world as me? Or could it be that he came from a parallel universe that the humans spoke of? This is too mystical, the surprise are truly huge. Yehua said faintly, I naturally came from another world as well. After hearing what Yehua said, his honor's expression remained normal, while Yehua's expression was much richer. This made Yehua feel that this imitation Wei Chang was still the same as it was 5 years ago. One last question, how did you come to this world? Yehua asked gravely. This question was very crucial. His honor let out a deep breath and looked at the sky. I was schemed against by those hateful humans. However, I will definitely take revenge. Yehua couldn't help but cry out in surprise. This is too nonsensical, right? Is he an imitation Wei Chang, or is he me from before? And how did you come to this world as well? His honor asked back. The two seemed like old friends catching up with each other, while on the other side, the battle was in full swing, and the high-end villa was instantly turned into rubble. This Wei Chang is starting to act recklessly. Yehua's thoughts seemed to have returned back to the past. I am the same as you, I was schemed against by the humans. Rather than saying that I was schemed against by the humans, it would be better to say that my leadership was too arrogant. There isn't any problem with my leadership ability. Don't spout nonsense. His honor's tone changed a bit, he was very angry. Yehua immediately laughed wildly, You are just the same as me 5 years ago, that kind of unwillingness, that kind of arrogance, that kind of not realizing your own mistake. Chapter 276. When Yihua heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. Thinking back to the time when he first arrived on Earth, he wished that he could directly go back to Earth and kill until the world was turned upside down. Fortunately, Wei Chang and Lai Gu were a little weak at that time, so they just waited for a period of time and casually learned. However, the longer he waited, the 5 years had already passed. If not, I wouldn't be able to meet Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji, and I wouldn't be able to have such an adorable daughter. I, the Supreme Overlord, am not here to persuade you to turn over a new leaf. Yihua said calmly. To be honest, this counterfeit is going to be a good subordinate. However, the person who dared to impersonate him didn't even have the qualifications to be his subordinate. A red light flashed across his honor's eye sockets. You sure have a big tone, just like a human. You're still lacking if you want to imitate this sovereign. Yihua let out a laughter that could cause one's hair to stand on end. You're just my version 0. 0, and I'm already at version 3. 0, your strength and brains are not on the same level. Without saying anything, his honor stretched out his skeletal hand, and black flames emerged from his skeletal hand. Abyssal flames. Right now, Yihua had already passed the period of being shocked. This abyssal flame is something that I obtained after going through untold hardships. Its might is about the same as other flames. Thinking back then when I used this abyssal flame to split the human race into pieces, it could be seen just how powerful this abyssal flame was. But now, the deity had mastered dozens of flames. He took out a cigarette and lit it with the abyssal flame. Soon after, he said, playing with fire with me, you are still too inexperienced. His honor clearly snorted coldly, and the abyssal flame that was in his palm flew towards Yihua. Meanwhile, Yihua still remained motionless and continued smoking his cigarette silently. If you don't dodge, you are dead. His honor reminded. Yihua took a deep breath and said faintly, as a supreme overlord, if I have to dodge such a small trick, wouldn't I be losing face? Furthermore, this world doesn't need 2 overlords. Boom! When the abyssal flame came into contact with Yihua's body, the black flame soared straight into the sky, and the blue dome of heaven seemed as if it was going to split open. The ferocious power of the abyssal flame caused everyone to be speechless. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly, and the entire ground was gradually corroded and evaporated. The entire manor was instantly razed to the ground, and even the surrounding area was affected. How is it possible for a high-level imitation like you to withstand my abyssal flame? His honor's expression was calm, as if he had just killed an ant. Ha ha ha. Yihua's laughter could be heard ringing out from within the raging flames, and this caused his honor to instinctively become vigilant. I didn't expect that the flames of the abyss would not be able to burn Yihua to death. A high-grade imitation will always be a high-grade imitation, even this abyssal flame is a low-grade version. Yihua laughed madly, mocking himself for guessing wrongly. With a wave of Yihua's skeletal hand, black flames that soared into the sky gathered on Yihua's skeletal finger. Few gently blow it out. Impossible. How did you do it? His honor's tone changed slightly. He was very surprised, and it was even more difficult for him to believe what was happening in front of his eyes. While smoking the cigarette, Yihua said calmly, if you are able to reach my level, then you wouldn't be surprised. Even my family's Ali's fire wouldn't be this weak. Impossible. Die, deceitful human. After speaking, his honor began chanting, and countless spells swept toward Yihua. Death Wither. Soul Turmoil. Life Siphon. Dark Despair. Various kinds of high-level spells rushed towards Yihua, and Yihua didn't put up any defense and relied on his skeletal body to resist the spells. Fortunately, he was able to protect the cigarette that was on his finger. Cigarettes were very expensive, and those 2 women said that they had to quit smoking before they gave birth to a child. Isn't Ali still very normal? Various kinds of death spells revolved around Yihua's body. Meanwhile, Yihua raised his hand, took a deep puff of the cigarette, then exhaled. This puff of smoke extinguished all of the spells, and His Honor couldn't help but take a step back. I have long stopped using these spells, and recently, I have been liking to use brute force. Yihua said faintly, and a 2-meter-long katana appeared in his hand. The slender katana was emitting out a silver light under the moonlight, and it was also emitting out an eerie cold air. His Honor pointed at the katana in Yihua's hand and muttered, "Why did my dead moon's night end up at your place? Why is it at my place? Don't you have any idea what's going on?" Yihua could be seen stretching out his hand and stroking lightly. Over 100 weapons were exposed in the sky, and all of them were emitting out a dazzling radiance. Any one of these weapons would be able to cause a war between gods and demons. However, at Yihua's place, all of these weapons were merely placed at the foot of a wall and gathering dust. His Honor looked at everything that was in front of him blankly. "All of these belong to me. You stole something from me. Shameless human." Yihua kept the katana, then held onto the katana with his left hand and smoked the cigarette with his right hand. "Perhaps you have to think about it, all of these things are actually in your memories, but you don't have them." "No. This is impossible. Where did my things go?" His Honor held onto his head, seemingly trying to search through his memories. Yihua said faintly, "The person who created you only gave you your memories, but there are a lot of things that he wasn't able to give you. How can I be someone who was created? You are lying." His Honor's anger seemed to have been ignited by Yihua, and an astonishing amount of spiritual energy emerged from his body. "Come out, Abyss Demon." The ground began shaking, and as if there was a magnitude 9 earthquake, a huge crack opened up on the ground. Then, 5 huge fingers appeared from below the crack, and soon after, the fingers climbed up. The finger was a 50 meters tall giant, and its entire body was fiery red like magma. When it appeared, the temperature of the surrounding rose to the extreme, and everything started burning. Looking at this place from afar, it looked just like a huge fireball, and the fireball was still expanding towards the surroundings. Roar! The Abyss Demon roared at Yihua. The roar was so loud that it actually created a shockwave that spread towards the surroundings, and the fire became even more ferocious. A forest fire is definitely unavoidable. Throwing away the cigarette butt, Yihua held onto the Night of the Dying Moon and slashed with one hand. A silvery light that was as thin as a hair struck towards the neck of the Abyss Demon. After passing through the neck, the silvery light flew towards the horizon and gradually disappeared. The defense of the Abyss Demon is the strongest. Even if you have the Night of the Dying Moon, you still won't be able to injure it in the slightest. His Honor was very confident. Meanwhile, the Abyss Demon cooperated with His Honor and let out another roar. Plop! The Abyss Demon's head that was slightly tilted slid down, and the neck area was extremely neat, just like tofu. Soon after, the Abyss Demon's entire body heavily fell onto the ground, giving off a burst of sparks. "That depends on who is using it," Yihua said faintly. His Honor looked at the Abyss Demon that fell onto the ground blankly, and his mouth was opened wide. "This skeleton is 1,000 times stronger than those overlords. Alright, I have played enough, I need to go back and accompany my child." Yihua didn't want to continue wasting time, the curiosity that he had in the beginning had already disappeared. His Honor suddenly shouted out to Yihua. "Are you going to beg for mercy?" Yihua asked gravely. If His Honor really begged for mercy, Yihua would be very disappointed. How would His Honor have any intention of begging for mercy? In fact, he didn't even think of running away. "Can you let off my subordinates?" Now that His Honor had clearly seen the strength of both sides, he didn't expect that he would be killed for the second time. Yihua had just regained his physical body, and when he heard what His Honor said, his expression was very astonished. Chapter 277. No. Yi Hua refused. As a supreme honorable, how could he possibly forgive such a crime? I'm not a kind-hearted person. I won't take pity on you just because you have my memories. After all, you are you, and your subordinates are your subordinates, not my subordinates. Wei Chang. Stop playing. Yi Hua shouted out gravely. Not far away, Wei Chang revealed a confident smile as he looked at the three people in front of him and said, I'll let you die a worthy death. As soon as he finished speaking, Wei Chang's body began to expand. A handsome middle-aged man's face twisted crazily, forming a head with only a big mouth. Sharp teeth dripped with sticky liquid, and his body turned into hundreds of tentacles, supporting the huge head. At the top of each tentacle was a small head, biting the ground with sharp teeth. This was Wei Chang's true form, a monster. Even Yi Hua wasn't sure what kind of monster it was. When he first met Wei Chang, there were these monsters everywhere, but they were all eaten by Wei Chang. To put it bluntly, Wei Chang had killed his entire race. He became a unique existence. When the three impostors saw Wei Chang's current state, they were a little stupefied, and his honor's shout could be heard from the side, quickly run. The three of them didn't have time to think. Want to run? Wei Chang's tongue was very long, it was estimated to be at least 50 centimeters long. Tang Wei should be very happy. Licking its rows of sharp teeth, the tentacles on its lower body slightly bent, and it launched off. His first target was the counterfeit Yi Zizi. How dare you imitate Zizi? Are you tired of living? He instantly swallowed Yi Zizi in one gulp, then turned around and devoured the other two knockoffs. These replicas didn't even have the strength to transform into their original bodies, so it was obvious that they weren't perfect. Your Honor, they have been cleaned up. Wei Chang, who had returned back to his human form, landed beside Yi Hua and said respectfully. Yi Hua nodded his head, then looked at His Honor who was in front of him. After keeping the Night of the Dead Moon, Yi Hua didn't want to say anything anymore. Golden flames emerged from his index finger and ignited the Night of the Dead Moon. This blazing sun burns the heavens, can help you free yourself. After saying that, he flicked the golden flame on his finger. There weren't any strong visual effects, but when the flame came into contact with His Honor's bones, the flame spread like a parasite, and the entire skeleton turned into a golden color. That pair of empty eye sockets stared at Yi Hua, seemingly telling Yi Hua that this matter will not end just like that. A cool breeze blew past and blew away His Honor's ashes. Even the robe that His Honor was wearing had turned into ashes. Boring. Yi Hua sighed with emotion. Being invincible truly feels empty. Wei Chang smiled and said, His Honor's power is boundless, naturally, he is able to stand above everyone else. But I, the Supreme Overlord, sent the two women to the heavens. Yi Hua laughed lightly. That is because your Honor loves the madams, subordinate can understand. Wei Chang, you know more and more. Wei Chang smiled bitterly. This subordinate doesn't want to know either. That's right, there are still a few of them, you go and deal with them, I will be going back now. Yi Hua yawned. I don't know if my daughter has woken up or not, this little fellow sure doesn't sleep well. Just as Wei Chang was about to reply, four figures suddenly descended. Yi Hua slowly turned around and said faintly, I was just about to look for you all, and you all came. Among the four, Greed was a bit emotional, and there were even glistening teardrops on his face. Your Honor, Greed could be seen running out of the group and kneeling onto the ground, then hugged onto Yi Hua's thigh. Yi Hua, who was currently smoking, was stupefied, and Wei Chang, who was behind him, was also stupefied by the scene in front of them. Zhu Tian. Yi Hua cried out in surprise. Zhu Tian took off his gold-rimmed glasses and transformed back into his original form. With a single look, Yi Hua and Wei Chang knew that it was Zhu Tian himself, because there wasn't anyone else that was cuter than him. It was a small cat. However, different from ordinary cats, there were a few colors intertwining on its fur, and within its gorgeous fur, there was a deathly aura. Your Honor, subordinate has finally found you. Zhu Tian transformed back into his human form and cried like a child. Meanwhile, the 7 deadly sins behind Yihua revealed curious expressions as they looked at Zhu Tian. Yihua coughed lightly. The reason why I came here this time is to look for you. Zhu Tian was startled, and he became even more touched. To be able to receive your Honor's care and concern, subordinate will never forget it in my entire life, woo-woo. Yihua finally understood. No wonder all of these people still have their memories, so it was Zhu Tian who did it. This also explains why all of their memories stopped at 5 years ago. Tell me, what is going on here? Zhu Tian began telling Yihua what happened to him. After coming here for 5 years, Zhu Tian was unfamiliar with this place, and adding on how much he missed his honor and his companions, Zhu Tian used 5 years of time to create a high-quality imitation of his honor. Didn't I just complete the imitation of his honor? These past few days were the happiest time I had in the past 5 years, and I was enjoying the blood that I had back then. Zhu Tian. You dare to order his honor? Wei Cheng shouted out. This was a huge disrespect. Zhu Tian doesn't dare. Although Zhu Tian created a high-quality imitation of his honor, I didn't disrespect his honor in the slightest. Subordinate just wants to live under his honor's might, and only his honor's imposing aura can allow Zhu Tian to sleep peacefully. Wei Cheng said, then, you made his honor into a fool. Yihua. Zhu Tian made the imitation according to his honor's personality in the past. Wei Cheng revealed out a smile. His honor is no longer his honor from 5 years ago. Yihua said faintly, Wei Cheng, you are also no longer the Wei Cheng from 5 years ago. Your honor is overpraising me. Wei Cheng was terrified. Yihua said faintly, it isn't convenient to talk here, let's go to another place. Bayou. Everyone appeared in the toilet of Leisure Bar. Your Honor. Please lead us to glory once again and kill all of humanity. Zhu Tian adjusted his state of mind. Now that I have found his honor, I can start a massacre now. This feels great. Yihua let out a light sigh. Zhu Tian and Yi Zizi are still the same as before, killing everyone the moment they appear. Zhu Tian, don't look at the current his honor the same way you looked at him in the past. Wei Cheng reminded. Yihua was happy, but he still had to give a stern criticism. Zhu Tian, do you know that you have spoiled my plan? Subordinate doesn't know. Zhu Tian said very sincerely. Yihua, Wei Cheng, you talk to Zhu Tian, I will smoke a cigarette. Yes. Wei Cheng summarized everything that happened within 10 minutes. Upon hearing that, Zhu Tian was startled. I didn't expect that his honor would change so much. Subordinate knows his mistake, his honor is no longer the same his honor from 5 years ago. Right now, his honor even possesses superhuman wisdom. Subordinate blushed with shame. Subordinate's little tricks were seen through by his honor with a single look. See through my ass, I thought that his honor was still the same his honor from 5 years ago. If I am unable to see through such little tricks, how am I supposed to be your leader? Yihua said gravely. I was nearly tricked by my subordinate. Subordinate is terrified. Oh right, where did you go just now? Yihua asked curiously. Chapter 278. Wei Cheng asked curiously, did you pay? In the past, Absolute Heaven was the brains of the team. For Wei Cheng to ask such a question, there must be a reason behind it. According to Wei Cheng's words, Absolute Heaven could deduce the answer. Zhu Tian said respectfully, of course, we will pay. We are good citizens who abide by the law. Not bad, Zhu Tian, for you to be able to comprehend it in such a short amount of time. I am very happy. Yi Hua was very gratified. As expected of my former military advisor, my brain works very fast. It's been 5 years, and I've once again received your honor's praise. This subordinate is very happy. Yi Hua nodded his head, then said faintly, Zhu Tian, since you have returned, I can give you a test. Your subordinate will not disappoint your honor. Tomorrow, the 2 madams will look for you. Deliberately lose to them, but don't expose your identity. When Zhu Tian heard this, he was greatly shocked. This subordinate absolutely does not dare to exchange blows with the madams. Wei Chang thought of Lai Gu. I reckon that fellow is currently hiding at home and shivering in fear. On that day, he injured Madame Dong Huang. It is fortunate that his honor succeeded, if not, Lai Gu would have to take the blame. One more thing, let those family heads fight with Ji family. After that, I will lead everyone to exterminate Ji family. Wei Chang and Absolute Heaven were excited. This time, they were going to move out on a large scale again. Moreover, they were going to exterminate their entire clan. It was not subduing. Yes, Your Honor. Zhu Tian shouted respectfully. Remember, for tomorrow's performance with the madams, don't blow your cover. Otherwise, I'll sell you to a pet shop. Yi Hua warned coldly. Originally, I was planning to exterminate all of them tonight, but I didn't expect that Zhu Tian would appear. I'll let those 2 silly women be happy for a while and let them have the feeling of being a heroine. I, the Supreme Overlord, will go and be the bad guy. Looking at pride, envy, and wrath, Yi Hua said gravely, get rid of all of these fake goods. I am getting annoyed just by looking at them. If the real person came back in the future and saw these fake ones, they would think that the real person missed them a lot. What's more, it wasn't the time for the main body to use a fake, so it wouldn't be able to display the true strength of the 7 deadly sins. Without the slightest hesitation, Absolute Heaven nodded and said, yes. Go get ready. Absolute Heaven quickly disappeared from the toilet. Wei Chang. Your subordinate is here. Spread out the news that Voidless Realms Empress will be bringing along. What do you mean by that? Yi Hua asked curiously. Wei Chang probed, best friend. That won't do. Just say that I brought along a heroine and came to crusade against him. Yi Hua also had a bitter conscience. This wife-doting maniac was already a reality. This subordinate understands. Looking at Wei Chang who was leaving, Yi Hua laughed lightly, the 2 of you want to be nameless heroes. I, the Supreme Overlord, will not agree to that. Such a magnificent feat must be known to the entire world. I'll make them into true heroines, and then I'll make one with each of my hands. Isn't that great? Be envious. Humans. Be jealous. Humans. Hate me. Humans. You will never know that I bully the heroine in your hearts every day. Thinking up to here, Yi Hua let out a deep laugh. When he returned to the bedroom, he saw his daughter kicking the blanket off the bed. She was hugging the pillow and sleeping soundly. Her expression was very cute. Dong Huangli lightly pulled out the pillow from her body, and when she smelled the sweet smell coming from the pillow, Dong Huangli hugged onto her father tightly with a comfortable look on her face. Yi Hua let out a breath and lied on the bed. Those 2 women should be very smug tomorrow. I, the Supreme Overlord, have arranged a big show for the 2 of you. In Voidless Realm, Qinya planned to train for the entire night, while Donghuang Baiji guided Qinya attentively by the side. The sky gradually turned bright, and Qinya, who was in the small courtyard, looked at the sky. Yi Hua should be very angry right now. We have not accompanied him for 2 days already, right? We are also doing this for the sake of all living beings in the world. At most, we will go back tonight and properly compensate Yi Hua. Donghuang Baiji said shyly. Compensating Yihua with her body is definitely Yihua's favorite. Qinya laughed. It's about time for me to leave. This is an ancient godly item, purple forest armor. It is immune to all poisons and has very high defense. Donghuang Baiji could be seen handing over the ancient godly item to Qinya. In actuality, Donghuang Baiji only had two ancient godly items, one was a sword, and the other was an armor. The rest of the ancient godly items were given to her subordinates. Of course, Donghuang Baiji wouldn't go and ask for them right now. If not, if they knew that she and Qinya were going to fight against that group of people, they would definitely stop them. Do you have any more? Donghuang Baiji smiled. I changed my sword. The previous sword was broken by Lai Gu. You can keep this armor then, I am stronger than you. Qinya returned the purple forest armor back to Donghuang Baiji. Qinya, your words are pricking my heart. Quickly put on the armor, if not, I will go and find Yihua to snitch on you. Qinya laughed bitterly, you don't even look like an empress anymore. In the past, I felt that being an empress was very awesome, but now, I feel that being a woman is even more enjoyable. That's right, being a woman is actually pretty good, especially when it comes to a man like Yihua. That's right, a man like Yihua is going to direct a good show for you all. After putting on the purple forest armor, Qinya's body changed. From a virtuous and virtuous wife, she became a female general. A purple breastplate paired with a purple gown. The might of an ancient godly item gradually spread out, and the spiritual sword in Qinya's hand also added a different kind of charm to it. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baiji, who was wearing the Golden Empress armor, looked mighty and domineering. Her beautiful face made one's heart itch, not knowing what she looks like under the golden armor. Yihua knew that what was underneath the golden armor was a delicate body that none of you would be able to imagine, the kind that would make you feel the moment you touch it. The two women took a glance at each other, then disappeared from Voidless Realm and arrived in the sky above Ji family. However, the ground was already scorched, and the forest that was not far away was still burning. Many fire trucks could be seen being dispatched from the foot of the mountain. Donghuang Baiji let out a breath, then waved her hand. Immediately, a layer of clouds gathered in the sky above, and very soon, heavy rain started falling. Where did those people go? It seems like a huge battle happened here. Donghuang Baiji asked doubtfully. There is a powerful aura fluctuation coming from the southeast. Qinya cried out in surprise. Counting from the southeast direction, Cloud Sect is not far away from here. Qinya, they are planning to exterminate Cloud Sect. Donghuang Baiji said. The two women disappeared once again. At Cloud Sect. Right now, Zhu Tian was wearing a red gown and wearing a joyful mask on his face. Zhu Tian was currently walking on the stairs of Cloud Sect. Meanwhile, Cloud Sect's disciples had all rushed back this morning, saying that they were going to attend some kind of meeting. And in the end, right after they returned, they bumped into this damned fellow who had already killed a few Cloud Sect's disciples. Within Cloud Sect's palace, a youngster directly flew down from the palace. The youngster had an extremely handsome appearance, and the green gown that the youngster wore was different from the other disciples. Sect Master. The disciples greeted respectfully. That's right, this youngster was the one who instantly became the sect master from Big Senior Brother after Sun Yi died. His name was Wu Hao. He was an ambitious youngster, and his goal was to get together with Sun Fang. However, when he heard that his goddess had thrown herself into the embrace of a bad person, Wu Hao's heart had already died. However, it was precisely because he was in such a state that he went berserk while cultivating, and coincidentally, he actually managed to open up his conception and governing vessels, allowing him to soar into the sky. Chapter 279. Who are you? To actually dare barge into my Cloud Sect? Wu Hao shouted in a stern voice as he surrounded Zhu Tian with the other disciples. Zhu Tian said with a relaxed tone, "The reason I came here today is to exterminate your Cloud sect." "You are that group of people," Wu Hao said in a deep voice. All the disciples' expressions were exceptionally grave. "That's right. Today is the day you die. No one can save you. If someone can save you, it must be a fearless warrior." After he finished speaking, a powerful aura burst out from Zhu Tian's body, sending everyone flying. However, they did not die, they were only seriously injured. "Stop!" A delicate shout could be heard from the horizon. The person hadn't arrived yet, but the voice had already been transmitted over. It must be an expert. In next to no time, two beautiful figures appeared within the Cloud sect. Zhu Tian had never seen the two madams before, and he almost wanted to kneel down and kowtow to them. He didn't expect that his first meeting with the madams would be like this. He was ashamed. Everyone from the Cloud sect looked at the two big sisters who had suddenly appeared. Clearly, they were attracted by their beauty. On the other hand, Wu Hao, who had fallen on the stairs, stared blankly at the two ladies. His originally dead heart was quietly resurrected, and he now had a new goal in life. However, none of them recognized the Empress. Isn't this the legendary Empress?" Someone from within the Cloud sect cried out in alarm, then pointed at Donghuang Baizhi and shouted out. In actuality, this disciple was someone from the Ying family who was impersonating Donghuang Baizhi. His acting is pretty good, right? After receiving the order yesterday, Sun Fang had used a secret method to summon all of her disciples back to the sect. She had also arranged for people from the Ying family to work with her. Her Majesty has come to save us. Voidless Realm's Majesty has come to save us. Another disciple could be seen standing up and shouting out with all of his strength. "I never thought that your Majesty would come to help us for the trifling matters of the South. We are truly impressed. The other one must also be a heroine. She's not inferior to men. Look at the giants in the north and look at the giants in the south, the Ji family. This is the difference. That's right. Her Majesty the Empress has rushed over from afar to save us, and will be sacrificing our lives for her." Qinye and Donghuang Baizhi felt a bit dizzy. Didn't all of the major sects return to their homes? This Cloud sect is still gathering people. Furthermore, their words are really making me blush with shame. Wu Hao stood up with the help of his disciples. He cupped his hands towards the Empress and said, "I am the sect leader of the Cloud sect, Wu Hao. Thank you, Empress, for lending a helping hand. My Cloud sect will never forget this." Donghuang Baizhi was also a person who had seen big scenes before, and thus, she said lightly, "Sect Master Wu is being too courteous. Getting rid of demons and protecting justice is the aim of my voidless realm. Today, I will definitely get rid of those people." The Ying family disciple shouted, "Long live the Empress! Long live the heroine!" Who didn't know how to kick up a fuss? Even adding scenes had to be done properly. As he shouted, it became, "Long live the two empresses." Qinye and Donghuang Baizhi felt a bit giddy. This southerner is truly too passionate, I don't even dare to accept it. Initially, he wanted to deal with it stealthily, but he didn't expect to cause such a big scene. However, this was not the end. Many black dots could be seen emerging from the horizon, and soon after, those black dots landed in Cloud sect. Most of these black dots were loose cultivators, and when they heard that Voidless Realm's Empress was going to make a move, they suggested coming over to take a look. And in the end, they really came. Looking at this scene, that group of people should have been stopped. If not, Cloud sect would definitely have been exterminated. Your Majesty, for you to be so worried about the South's matter, we, as Southern cultivators, feel ashamed. That's right, the Southern's big shots are locked up in their seclusion, and yet, your Majesty came all the way here to save them. This kind of sentiment is truly admirable. And this heroine, as expected of a heroine, this humble one admires her. Immediately, all kinds of praises rang out in Qinya and Donghuang Baiji's ears, causing the two of them to feel embarrassed. Meanwhile, Zhu Tian didn't move at all, and he watched as the madams were praised. However, it must be said that the madams are truly courageous. To actually send two of them to accept the duel, this kind of temperament is definitely worthy of his honor. This subordinate is truly convinced. It was clearly a dangerous duel, but right now, it turned into a commendation ceremony. Everyone seemed to have forgotten about Zhu Tian's existence. Cough, cough, cough. Have you all said enough? Zhu Tian coughed lightly. It's enough. If you all are done praising me, then what am I going to continue praising? Only then did everyone realize that there was still another person here, and they couldn't help but become afraid. Zhu Tian slowly walked towards the two women and greeted them in a gentlemanly manner. For the two heroines to come here, I presume that you came here to stop me from killing people. This kind of courage is truly admirable. Look! Even the enemy is praising them. That's right, the moment they came here, they immediately suppressed this man. Just a moment ago, they even bowed to the Empress. I am about to become an Empress fan. Who do you think is more beautiful, the heroine or the Empress? Only children would make a choice. I say that both of them are beautiful. Qinya looked at Zhu Tian coldly and shouted out, "Scoundrel! Why are you still not surrendering?" Although this humble one admires the two heroines' magnificent feat, I am truly unable to surrendering. Zhu Tian's aura gradually rose, causing everyone to uncontrollably retreat to avoid being killed. Scoundrel! Where did your companions go? Donghuang Baiji asked gravely. Zhu Tian laughed loudly. Your Majesty, do you think that a lot of people are needed to exterminate a small cloud sect? Arrogant! Wu Hao shouted out. I am chatting with the madams. What are you, human, interrupting us for? She slapped the air, and a formless sharp blade flew towards Wu Hao's forehead. Qinya's body instantly disappeared. Clang! A sword was placed horizontally in front of Wu Hao's eyes. At the moment of imminent peril, Qinya saved Wu Hao's life. Looking at the figure in front of him, Wu Hao made his choice. My goddess in this lifetime shall be her. Formidable. To actually be able to block my attack. Zhu Tian clapped his hands and praised. Qinya shouted out, there's something even more formidable. How about we make a bet? Zhu Tian said. Donghuang Baiji shouted out sternly, what kind of crafty plot are you trying to play? Your Majesty is worrying too much. My bet is, if I lose today, I will stop the massacre. As long as the two of you are still alive, I will not appear. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other. This is a good opportunity. Qinya asked, what about your other companions? What I mean is what they mean. Zhu Tian said. What if we lose? Donghuang Baiji asked gravely. Zhu Tian laughed lightly, it's just Cloud sect being exterminated. Of course, we can also not be exterminated. What is the condition? Donghuang Baiji asked. Are you all willing to use your lives to exchange for the safety of the entire Cloud sect? Qinya and Donghuang Baiji's hearts sunk to the bottom. Looking at the surrounding Cloud sect's disciples, their faces were filled with pain and pity. Although I don't know them, the reason I acted today is to save them. The two women nodded their heads at each other. Qinya said gravely, if we lose, I hope that you will act according to the agreement and let Cloud sect go. Right now, Yi Hua was currently using Zhu Tian's eyes to observe the situation here. When he heard the two women's decision, he nearly collapsed from anger. Those two foolish women. They are actually willing to throw away their lives for some salted fishes. Don't they know that they have to take care of their disabled son and daughter? Chapter 280. Why do these two women not know how to use their brains? One is pregnant, and the other has a child. I have never seen such irresponsible mothers before. I am already considered to be unreasonable, but compared to them, I am already considered to be good. Zhu Tian. Teach them a lesson, it isn't that easy to be a hero. Yi Hua was very angry. I was originally spoiling you two, so I let you two play around and dream of being a hero. Now that I am angry, it is useless even if Ali comes to coax me. When Zhu Tian heard the news that his honor sent over, he was also astonished. Teach the madams a lesson. How heavy is this lesson? If it's light, his honor will not be satisfied. If it's heavy, his honor will not be happy. This was not a good thing, so he had to think of a way. Your honor, do you want me to break their arms or legs? Just some superficial wounds will do, I will teach them a lesson myself. Yi Hua said gravely. You two are too troublesome, if not for me, who is such a powerful backing, you two wouldn't even know how you two died. Superficial wounds are definitely necessary, if not, it would be too fake. Besides, superficial wounds aren't even considered injuries to them, they can be taken care of in a few minutes. At the scene of Cloud's sect. When everyone heard that the Empress and this heroine are actually using their lives to exchange for Cloud's sect's safety, everyone was extremely moved. There are still good people in this era. Even the noble Empress of Voidless Realm actually did such a thing. The men of Cloud's sect were no cowards, and they stood up one after another. Your Majesty, heroine. We still have the strength to fight. That's right, we are willing to fight against the enemy together with your Majesty. Fight against the enemy together with your Majesty. Right now, there was no need for actors. Cloud Sect's disciples expressed their thoughts one after another. As a big shot in the north, Donghuang Baiji had never been liked by the Southerners, and today, Donghuang Baiji had obtained the respect and support of the Southerners. On the contrary, Ji family and Ning family's impression of Cloud's sect had plummeted, especially Ji family. Those loose cultivators started criticizing Ji family for not being righteous, and at the same time, praising Voidless Realm's generosity. Not only did Yi Hua let his wives act cool, he also caused Ji family's reputation to plummet, killing two birds with one stone. However, right now, Yi Hua can only care about these two women. After he returns, I will spank both of their butts until they become swollen. Donghuang Baiji shouted out loudly, I appreciate everyone's kind intentions, but I hope that everyone will not be impulsive and avoid unnecessary casualties. What a benevolent empress. I didn't expect the northern giants to be so kind. I really want to move to the north, but I don't know if there's any space left. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji looked at each other. Right now, they could even communicate with each other through their eyes. The two of them soared into the sky. Zhu Tian lightly laughed. The madams had already earned enough reputation. Now, all that was left was the final blow. The three of them flew into the clouds. Without saying anything further, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji released their auras to the fullest. As for Zhu Tian, he controlled his strength to the same level. His hands turned into sharp claws as he fought against the two madams. The spiritual pressure released by both sides caused the clouds to churn. The intense pressure caused the people below to be unable to raise their heads. The disciples of the Cloud sect and those rogue cultivators were all shocked. They didn't expect these three to be so strong. They weren't on the same level at all. It was too terrifying. Piercingly cold killing intent blotted out the sky and covered the earth as waves of terrifying aura engulfed the earth. Boundless killing intent erupted from the bodies of the two women as they launched a pincer attack on Absolute Heaven. Through Absolute Heaven's eyes, Yihua revealed an expression of shock when he saw Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. There was no need to talk about Donghuang Baiji, her foundation was already pretty good. However, Qingye was different. After awakening, she didn't have much experience. However, in just a few days of effort, she was able to fight quite well. Furthermore, she had even formed a tacit understanding with Donghuang Baiji. Just like a special formation, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji controlled Zhu Tian. If Death Mage were to face such an attack, he would probably suffer a calamity. He wanted to increase the distance between them. The speed of the two women was extremely fast. Fortunately, it was Zhu Tian. No matter what, the two of them wouldn't be able to defeat Zhu Tian. However, Zhu Tian had to work hard. The more the two women fought, the more Zhu Tian's strength became. Zhu Tian, who was being suppressed by Zhu Tian, was suffering greatly. It's about time. Hurry up and use your ultimate move and admit defeat. There are still other things waiting for you to do. Yihua's voice rang out in Zhu Tian's mind. Zhu Tian shouted out angrily as he pushed the two women away from each other. A gigantic sphere could be seen slowly condensing. Lightning coiled around the sphere and emitted out a terrifying aura. Suddenly, the color of heaven and earth changed. Dark clouds covered the sky and lightning rumbled. Everyone below was unable to see anything and could only feel that a terrifying aura was condensing. The wind blew the two women's beautiful hair. There was no fear in their beautiful eyes, instead, they were filled with boundless righteousness. Seeing the gaze of his wives, Yihua felt a headache. No, I must definitely lead them astray. The two women kept their weapons and moved their hands forward. Power of bloodline. The two women shouted out at the same time. Donghuang Baiji was, after all, the descendant of Emperor Donghuang. Although she didn't inherit his bloodline, she was still a person of Emperor Donghuang. On the other hand, Qingye had completely inherited the power of her bloodline. This move was taught to her by Donghuang Baiji. Perhaps, Qingye still didn't know that the Nuwa clan was the weakest when they were pregnant. However, the weakest Qingye was still this strong. From this, it could be seen that if Qingye wasn't pregnant, she would probably be able to fight against Zhu Tian one-on-one. Furthermore, as the Nuwa clan grew older, their strength would become stronger. Right now, Qingye could only be considered to be a youngster. After hundreds or thousands of years, she might be able to defeat any one of the 7 deadly sins. However, it was said that because the strength of the Nuwa clan was too great, there could only be one Nuwa clan in this world. However, right now, Qingye was already pregnant. Right now, the two women were both using the power of their bloodline. A gigantic image appeared behind Donghuang Baiji. It was a 3-legged golden crow. On the other hand, the image that appeared behind Qingye was Zhu Tian himself. However, Qingye, who had turned into a human body and a snake tail, possessed the characteristics of the Nuwa clan. The power of the two bloodline burst out at the same time. This caused Zhu Tian to be a bit puzzled, and he had no choice but to increase his strength a bit. Right now, it was as if a gigantic volcano had appeared in the sky and was currently erupting. Countless lightning bolts scattered in all directions, causing the mountains to sway, and the earth to tremble. This kind of scene was just like the end of the world. Everyone was pressed onto the ground by the might that was being emitted from the sky. However, they still raised their heads and looked towards the horizon, cheering for the Empress and the heroine. Boom! In an instant, the entire sky seemed to have turned into a white sun. That dazzling white light caused everyone to close their eyes, not daring to look at it. Immediately after, a powerful airwave burst out like a Milky Way. Right now, one could actually see a Milky Way in the sky. Everyone exclaimed in admiration. Chapter 281. Look! Someone fell down. One of Cloud Sec's disciples cried out in surprise as he pointed at the sky and said. Everyone looked towards the rapidly descending silhouette. In the blink of an eye, the silhouette landed within the sect. Zhu Tian stabilized his body and landed lightly on the ground. However, the clothes that he was wearing were torn and tattered, but the mask that he was wearing was not torn at all. Everyone felt that it was some kind of high-grade mask. In actuality, Zhu Tian merely snatched a child's mask. The child was angered to the point of crying. Seems like the victor has been decided. Everyone within Cloud Sec let out a sigh of relief. This empress and that heroine are indeed formidable. Although it is 2 against 1, no one felt that it was inappropriate. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji slowly descended and looked at Zhu Tian with their beautiful eyes. If this person were to go back on his words, there is nothing we can do about it. Under the two's ultimate moves, only the man's clothes were slightly torn, while the woman's skin was torn. If a scar were to be left behind, it wouldn't look good. At that time, wearing a bikini would definitely not look good. What kind of situation is this, and you are still thinking about wearing a bikini? The 2 of you are indeed formidable, I admit defeat. Zhu Tian shouted out loudly as if he was afraid that others wouldn't be able to hear him. He did not look like he was going to lose at all. Zhu Tian's acting skills are not good. If Yi Hua was here, he would definitely bleed and poke a few holes on himself. The 2 women's expressions were cold, but in their hearts, they let out a sigh of relief. Since the 2 of you have won, I will keep my promise. As long as the 2 of you are here, I will definitely not appear in front of you. Farewell. After finished speaking, Zhu Tian disappeared from Cloud Sect. The entire Cloud Sect became quiet. This turn of events is too good, to the point that no one could react to it. After a while, loud cheers resounded throughout the world. Everyone went crazy as they celebrated for surviving a calamity. Qinya, do you think that Yi Hua will flip out? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Qinya smiled gently, not just flip out, he will definitely pout in anger. However, Yi Hua looks so cute when he is angry, I really want to pinch his cheeks. Qinya laughed, you have to grab this opportunity, he is currently in a weakened state. If we wait for him to recover his strength, we won't be able to win against him. Donghuang Baiji spread out her hands helplessly. Who asked me to like this kind of man? Qinya, don't you think that this man seems to have the intention of losing on purpose? Donghuang Baiji seemed to have sensed something. This man's strength is very strong. Under the power of my bloodline, he is actually not injured in the slightest. If we continue to fight, we will definitely lose. However, he admitted defeat just like that. It was very strange. Qinya nodded her head, we still have to pay attention to this matter, I keep feeling that there is a big conspiracy behind this. Yes, I think so too. The 2 women were very smart. If Yi Hua were to let Zhu Tian act in the movie, it would be a wrong choice. It would be better for Yi Hua to let Zhu Tian act in the movie. Right now, the 2 women were already suspecting Yi Hua. If the 2 women were to find out that all of these scenes were directed by their man, they would definitely be angered to the point of collapse. Being cheated by the person that they love the most, just thinking about that feeling, Yi Hua felt that he was going to die. A cool song was delivered first. Your Majesty, heroine, on behalf of the Cloud Sect, I thank you for your help. If it's convenient for you, please stay for a meal. As the sect leader, Wu Hao naturally had to give a speech. It was a form of etiquette as well. Of course, I also have a small motive. That heroine just saved my life, I should repay her. I wonder how about I repay her with my body. Donghuang Baiji sorted out her state of mind, then once again revealed the aura that an empress should have, this time, I am also very worried about what happened in the south. Right now, I have defeated the enemy and returned back the peace of our cultivation world. This is more than enough. After finished speaking, Donghuang Baiji and Qingye disappeared from Cloud's sect. I didn't expect that your majesty would be so amiable and approachable. That's right, she left right after defeating the enemy. What a selfless contribution. And this is something that the two big shots of the south are unable to do. That's right, what recuperation is that family talking about? Did your majesty recuperate before? And two big shots. In my opinion, they are just two big tortoises. Immediately, discussions could be heard within the Cloud sect. While praising the Empress, they were also criticizing the two big shots of the south. Looking at the place where Qingye disappeared, Wu Hao let out a deep sigh. I have to become stronger. I have to strive to have the strength to help her in battle next time. At the very least, I can't be a burden. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji didn't return back to Leisure Bar. Instead, they went to Voidless Realm. Firstly, they went to treat their flesh injuries, and secondly, they didn't dare to return home. If Yihua were to know that they risked their lives to save people today, he would definitely go crazy and frighten his two wives to the point that they would tremble in fear. In actuality, Yihua already knew about this long ago, and he had already prepared the whip. That scene should be very explosive. However, right now, Yihua was currently accompanying his daughter to watch Calabash Brothers save Grandpa. After Zhu Tian finished dealing with the matters here, he appeared in front of Ji family's house. Right now, Zhu Tian was wearing a white suit and a red necktie. Coupled with that confident smile of his, Zhu Tian sure is handsome. That pair of gold-rimmed spectacles added a hint of intellectual flavor to him. If this person isn't a teacher, then he is a doctor. The family heads that were protesting together still don't know that the crisis has been resolved, but I reckon that they will receive the news soon. Therefore, I have to act quickly. His Honor's intention is to let the humans kill each other, and as a subordinate, I naturally have to understand his intention. However, looking at how dispirited and listless these people are, this is going to be difficult. His Honor's intention is to not expose himself, his demands are truly getting higher and higher. However, this is not a problem for me, Zhu Tian, to deal with. Just as Zhu Tian was preparing to act stealthily, Traceless Pavilion's pavilion master Gujing suddenly stood up. His face had already lost its usual color, and in just a day, he seemed to have aged by at least 10 years. Ji family's little brat, come out. Gujing could be seen shouting out loudly as he smashed his fist onto the barrier. It was just a simple punch that didn't use any spiritual energy. The other family heads turned their heads and looked towards Gujing, then shook their heads. Yesterday, after continuously smashing the barrier for more than an hour, the barrier still didn't have any reaction. Everyone came to a realization, and that is, this is a barrier that is impossible to be broken. In actuality, Gujing didn't expect to be able to break the barrier with a single punch, he was merely trying to vent out the anger in his heart. However, Kacha. The barrier behind his fist showed signs of cracking. Gujing was dumbfounded. When did his fist become so powerful? Could it be that he had broken through? Yihua shouted out loudly. A powerful spiritual energy erupted out from Gujing as he smashed his fist onto the barrier once again. Creak, creak, the barrier was just like glass, and the cracks appeared like a spider web, to the point that even the naked eye could see the cracks clearly. Everyone slowly stood up and looked at the cracks on the barrier in disbelief. Everyone, together. Gujing shouted out loudly. Sure enough, a few family heads rushed over, and soon after, more and more family heads rushed over. The barrier once again enjoyed the feeling of rubbing against the ground. Bang! After 10 minutes of frenzied bombardment, a hole was opened up on Ji family's barrier. Chapter 282. In an instant, everyone rushed into the Ji family's house. Zhu Tian slowly walked at the back of the group. Naturally, he had done something to the barrier just now. Otherwise, with Gai Zheng's strength, how could he possibly break the barrier? Fortunately, he was there to make the plan perfect. After walking into the barrier, Absolute Heaven turned his head around to take a look. The barrier that had been damaged earlier was gradually being repaired, and very quickly, it returned to its original state. Today, everyone will die. Absolute Heaven muttered with a smile on his face. If Yi Hua knew that his subordinate had started to fill in the blanks on his own, he would definitely scold Yi Hua. I am telling you to make them bear grudges against each other, not to kill all of them. If you kill all of them, who am I going to play with in the future? Furthermore, 90% of the powers in the south had gathered here, and if all of them were to die here, the south would not be a match for the north, and Yi Hua's plan would not be able to be carried out. He was indeed worthy of being the leader. He had disintegrated all the forces in the south in a matter of minutes, and he had done it without anyone noticing. Ji Zizhen was currently enjoying his sumptuous breakfast, and he immediately frowned. They actually broke through the barrier. How was this possible? Big brother, bad news. That group of people rushed in. Ji hurried over and reported the situation to his big brother. Ji Zizhen said gravely, you don't even know how to handle this kind of thing. Chase them all out. That group of people smashed everything without any regard for their lives. The guards didn't dare to act rashly without orders. A few guards were even beaten up. Right now, those family heads were indeed like hooligans. They started to smash things in Ji family's residence and even injured Ji family's guards. The scene was in chaos. Unruly people. These patriarchs are unruly commoners. Ji Zizhen shouted angrily. Ji did not dare to say anything when his big brother flew into a rage. After a long while, Ji Zizhen finally calmed down. While drinking the high-grade spiritual porridge, he said unhurriedly, catch a few people and beat them up. After that, chase them out. Yes. Ji quickly left. Ji Ting then walked in and said in a deep voice, Big brother, it's very strange this time. The barrier broke for no reason. Is someone causing trouble? Perhaps, but no matter how ruthless the person is, I will make sure that he will not be able to leave this place alive. Ji Zizhen said coldly, and his gaze flickered with austere aura. Ji Ting was relieved after hearing that. Then I'll go and help second brother. Go, but don't kill anyone now. We'll kill them later. Understood. At this moment, the family heads had already charged into the interior of Ji family. The guards at the entrance were all knocked to the ground. Of course, they were only beaten up. These family heads were still rational. Absolute Heaven leisurely followed behind the group, waiting for an opportunity to make his move. Suddenly, he realized that the leader was very excited. That must be him. At this moment, Gai Zheng's fists landed on flesh, but he didn't use any spirit chi. This would only cause pain, but not fatal. Stop right there. Otherwise, I won't be polite with you. The Ji family's guard pointed his spear at Gu Zheng. Call your patriarch out. I want justice today. Gu Zheng kicked away the spear in anger and punched the guard's abdomen. Bang! The silver-armored guard's eyes almost popped out. He pointed at Gu Zheng and shouted, You dare to kill me? How dare you kill me? Gu Zheng frowned. The surrounding guards and patriarch stopped what they were doing and looked at the situation over here. The guard slowly fell to the ground, his body twitching as blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Upon seeing this, the other guards immediately went forward to check on the situation. In this kind of situation, there was no one to stop them. It was clearly just a boxing match, how did it turn into murder? Very quickly, the guards stopped breathing. The other guards stood up and shouted, to actually dare to commit murder in G family's territory. What is waiting for you all is the most severe punishment. This kind of matter definitely has to be reported to the family head and let him punish them. However, one of the guards suddenly stabbed out with his spear, "You bunch of scoundrels, all of you deserve to die. I am going to take revenge for my brothers." Two of the guards were brought over by the family head, and when the family head saw that his good friends were killed, he became hot-headed. His spirit chi suddenly erupted and attacked towards the guard. Immediately, blood exploded on the spot, causing everyone to be horrified. "Kill!" the guard shouted out in anger. Meanwhile, Gujing wasn't afraid and shouted out, "Kill!" Both sides immediately started fighting, and more G family's guards rushed out and joined the battle. Zhu Tian was very satisfied with this situation. To make them kill each other in an instant, this kind of feeling is truly wonderful. No wonder his honor likes it so much. This feeling is much better than directly killing people. From time to time, Zhu Tian would get rid of a few guards and increase their rage. Zhu Tian was very happy. "Everyone, stop!" Ji could be seen rushing over and shouting out. Zhu Tian hated this person very much. "Others are fighting properly, why are you shouting out for them to stop? What is the difference between this and sparing someone's life?" As expected, along with Ji's shout, everyone stopped fighting and separated into two sides. Ji and Ting, who just rushed over, tightly wrinkled their brows. Why did over 100 people from both sides die in just a short while? If this matter were to be spread out, G family's face would truly be lost. However, G family wouldn't allow these unruly people to act recklessly. Audacious! To dare to kill my G family's guards, do you all not know the consequences? Ji landed on the ground and shouted out. A throwing knife suddenly shot out from within the crowd. The throwing knife was so fast that even Ji didn't notice it. Poochie! The throwing knife stabbed into Ji's chest. Although the throwing knife's speed was fast, the power behind the throwing knife didn't seem to be big. It was somewhat ironic. Zhu Tian, who was in the group, had a faint smile on his face. Who dares to secretly injure people? If you have the guts, stand out. Ji found it hard to believe that he was actually stabbed by a throwing knife. Second brother, are you alright? Ting asked with concern. I'm fine, just a flesh wound. Ji said gravely as he swept his gaze across the crowd. Another throwing knife appeared and stabbed into Ji's chest. The power behind the throwing knife wasn't big, but every single one of them stabbed into Ji's heart. Who? If you have the guts, try again. Ji lowered his head and saw that 3 throwing knives stabbed into his chest. With so many people watching, his face was completely swept away. Zhu Tian had never heard of such a request before. Of course, he would satisfy you. Ji was angered to the point that his face turned red. Unruly people. All of you are unruly people. There will always be people who want to harm me. This time, the family heads couldn't sit still anymore. Your G family is a tortoise hiding in its shell, yet you are still so arrogant to think that you are an emperor. Who do you think you are? Call your family head out, we want an explanation. That's right, quickly scram and call your family head out. That's right, if not, we will exterminate your G family today. What an arrogant tone, exterminate G family. Ji and Ting's eyes were about to shoot out fire, and they were about to not be able to endure it anymore. Bu, countless throwing knives flew out from all directions, and all of the throwing knives stabbed into Ji and Ting's chest. Ji was stabbed into an S, and Ting was stabbed into AB. Chapter 283. When the family heads saw this scene, they immediately burst into laughter. In their hearts, they were certain that family would not dare to kill people recklessly. This was an action that would cause the entire world to condemn them. However, they had underestimated and Ting's violent temper. They were continuously mocked and ridiculed by and Ting. When the mocking laughter resounded in their ears, took out a plate that looked very similar to the flying guillotine. However, this plate was even more powerful than the flying guillotine. That was because the flying guillotine was an ancient godly item. chose the person who was laughing the most and threw out the blood plate in his hand. The blood plate directly wrapped around the head of that family head. The lower part of the blood plate immediately fell off and pierced into both of the family head's legs. Every layer of the blood plate had sharp teeth. If the blood plate rotated, one could imagine what kind of scene would occur. The furious muttered as the blood plate slowly rotated. Family, you cannot kill me. The family head who was bound by the blood plate shouted in anger. Not only you, all of you must die. Another throwing knife pierced into G's chest. G's anger instantly exploded. Bang! The family head who was bound by the blood plate instantly turned into a pool of blood. However, the blood plate did not stop there and continued to attack the other family heads. The scene instantly turned into a mess. All the family heads no longer cared about anything else. Right now, they could only risk it all. Ting's body trembled as all the throwing knives on his chest were reflected back at him, killing many people. A black iron greatsword appeared in Ting's hand. It was another ancient godly item. All the family heads had shock in their eyes. As expected of a big shot. This ancient godly item was like a cabbage. Ting suddenly rushed out and swung the black iron greatsword at the crowd. A huge sword attacked the crowd and instantly, a large number of people died miserably. At this moment, all the family heads started to panic. This family had gone crazy. They actually dared to massacre the family heads of the southern powers. Everyone, quickly run. Family has gone crazy. Quickly run, we must tell the world about family's evil deeds. Let the world spurn them. All the family heads started to retreat. They must inform the outside world about this matter. Looking at the family heads who were running away, and Ting seemed to have regained their senses. Both of them frowned. This matter had blown up. I asked you to do your job. Look at the result of your actions. Zizhen suddenly appeared behind the two family heads. Big brother. Big brother. Zizhen did not reply. He looked at the situation below. More than half of the family heads had been killed or injured. The consequences were unimaginable. After a moment of silence, Zizhen let out a sigh of relief. Don't let any of them escape. Yes. Yes. Zizhen had already prepared for the worst. A big shot killing a subordinate, this kind of matter could not be leaked out. They must all be executed. When they reached the edge of the barrier, they realized that there was no way out. The originally broken barrier had actually been repaired. There was no road ahead, and there were pursuers behind. Everyone had a deathly look on their faces. Meanwhile, Absolute Heaven had long since transformed into his original form. He stood on the roof and watched. He even took out his phone to record the scene. After that, he laid down and waited quietly. The family's army quickly surrounded the remaining few hundred people. Little brats from the family, even if I die, I'll drag a few of you down to hell with me. Gaizheng took the lead and rushed out. At the critical moment of life and death, he actually erupted with a powerful spiritual pressure. Ji coldly harumphed and threw out the blood plate in his hand, which immediately wrapped around Gaijing. In an instant, Gaijing turned into a pool of blood in the air. Kill! Ji shouted coldly. Immediately, miserable wails, curses, and begging sounds rang out from the scene. The kitten that was on the roof, Absolute Heaven, held onto his chin and licked his paws. His phone was still recording the scene. This group of people, when it comes to killing their own people, they really don't hesitate at all. After waiting for more than 10 minutes and watching the final family head fall, Absolute Heaven let out a TSK, TSK, TSK sound. This video is definitely going to be very explosive. G family massacred 90% of the Southern Powers family heads. Their guts are truly incomparable. G family's bodyguards could be seen quickly cleaning up the battlefield and getting rid of all of the corpses, as if nothing had happened. After keeping away my phone, it is about time to report this matter. Perhaps, the entire G family would never have thought that while they were in control of other people's lives, their own lives were also in Yihua's hands. Your Honor, the matter has already been settled. Absolute Heaven contacted Yihua and began the next step of the plan. At this moment, Yihua was currently playing with his daughter and raising her up high. How much hatred did those family heads have? Yihua asked curiously. Absolute Heaven said respectfully, very much. They even made a move against G family. Yihua laughed softly, oh. They all made a move. That's interesting. How many people died? All of them are dead. Yihua, seeing that her father was in a daze, Donghuangli asked curiously, Daddy, what happened to you? Ollie, go and play with Aunt Qing first. Daddy still has something to do. Yihua said faintly. Donghuangli was very sensible as she ran to the room at the side. Meanwhile, Yihua stood at the window and lit up a cigarette. Are you certain that all of them are dead? Subordinate is very certain. Subordinate had followed Your Honor's instructions and ignited their anger. G family indeed couldn't hold back and made a move against G family and exterminated all of them. Furthermore, Subordinate had also recorded a video. G family will have to take responsibility for this matter. Yihua roared furiously, when the hell did I say that all of them are dead? Who am I supposed to find to play with them? Your Honor, please calm down. Absolute Heaven panicked. I had already emphasized so much that they should kill each other, so how could you let G family exterminate all of them? Absolute Heaven hurriedly explained, Your Honor, Subordinate had followed Your Honor's instructions and ordered them to kill each other. However, those family heads were too weak. Then, didn't you know that you should have made a move? Your Honor, if Subordinate had made a move against those family heads, wouldn't we have been exposed? Yihua, I finally know why I was exterminated back then. I reckon that the orders that I gave were all twisted into reality. Great, now that those powers in the south are all finished, how are they going to be able to fight against those powers in the north? Without a few years, those powers in the south won't be able to increase their strength at all. Irritating. I am coming over right away. Subordinate will wait for Your Honor's arrival. Yihua began gathering the 7 sins. This time, it could be considered as a small reunion. Right now, G family was currently holding an emergency meeting. Ji Zizhen appeared to be very calm as he sipped on his tea. Meanwhile, the elders of Ji family were indignant. What Ji family did was against the heavens, and Ji family will definitely suffer retribution. Hearing the elders' words, Ji Zizhen said faintly, all of you, stop talking. What is there to talk about when all of them are already dead? Family head, if those people were to be enraged this time around, our Ji family will definitely be exterminated. An elder said gravely. The purpose of the big shot's existence was to uphold justice. Now that they had killed all of their own people, what justice is there to speak of? Those people are all nothingness. They have not appeared in the past 1,000 years, and they will not appear in the future as well. Ji Zizhen said faintly. He was not worried about this problem at all. After pausing for a moment, Ji Zizhen continued, furthermore, the death of this group of people can be pushed onto that group of people, and this has nothing to do with our Ji family. Big Brother is wise. Big Brother is wise. Ji Zizhen placed down his teacup and said gravely, right now, the most important task is to annex Ying family. After that, annex Voidless Realm. Family head, you mustn't do that. Ji Zizhen's gaze turned cold as he shouted out, drag them out. Chapter 284. The man at the very front had a cigarette in his mouth and had a look of, I am a big shot, on his face, but his expression seemed to be a bit unhappy, as if he was suffering from constipation. The 4 people following behind him also looked weird. One was a handsome uncle, one was a youngster, and one was a youngster who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses. You can go to work just by carrying a briefcase. There was also a cute little loli. School is about to start soon, this is not a place that you should come to, but uncle has lollipops here, they are very delicious. This group of people was naturally Yi Hua and 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Just that, Zhu Tian's expression wasn't very good, because he had done something wrong. Yi Zizi yawned as she slapped her lips with her little hand. Today, she was also wearing a public dress, and there was even a big bow on her head, looking extremely cute. Wei Chang and Lai Gu had a smile on their faces, looking as if they were old friends. Who are you guys? The guard looked at Yi Hua and the others vigilantly. Where did these 5 people come from? I have never seen them in Ji family before. Yi Hua didn't have the mood to converse with salted fish. As a subordinate, I naturally have to understand what the boss means. Zhu Tian said faintly, bring us in. The 2 guards and the boss went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, please enter. Zhu Tian's greatest ability was to change a person's thinking, it could be said to be hypnosis. Zhu Tian also had another skill that was very awesome. That was speed. In the team, Yi Zizi was the symbol of strength, and Zhu Tian was the symbol of speed. His speed was extremely fast, causing people to be unable to extricate themselves. Wei Chang's strength was rather comprehensive, there wasn't anything that was too outstanding, but when he transformed into his original form, he would cause people's hair to stand on end. There was no need to say much about Lai Gu, he was known as the Overlord of the Sky. The other 3 7 deadly sins also had their own specialties, their entire team was capable of both land, sea, and air, if not, they wouldn't have gathered all of the overlords to annihilate them back then. Back then, as the leader of the team, Yi Hua's physical attack was the weakest, but his magic attack was the strongest, and those overlords also understood this point, thus they put down the barriers between each other and made a series of plans to fight over the treasures, truly reaching the point of sharing the treasures. Therefore, Yi Hua and the 7 deadly sins were being targeted. After all, overlords all had their own dignity, and for them to unite and share the treasures, this was a magnificent feat that had never been heard before. Even though they managed to exterminate Yi Hua and the others in the end, their side had also suffered heavy losses. However, at the end of the day, they managed to return peace to the continent. However, they had no idea that the skeleton monster from back then was still alive, and its strength was even more monstrous. Its subordinates were even more so. If they knew about this, they probably wouldn't be able to sleep well. The 2 Imperial Guards and the Elder respectfully led the way at the front. Yi Hua smoked his cigarette and stared at everyone in the lobby. These damnable fellows messed up all of my plans. I really want to call the police and arrest them. Murderers. Ji Zizhen, who was inside, was formulating a series of annexation plans. Suddenly, he saw a few figures appear outside the house. He immediately frowned. Seeing the peculiar gaze of the clan head, the crowd couldn't help but follow his gaze, and they were all baffled. Yihua and the others walked to the center of the crowd and swept their gazes across the crowd. Tianju, who was standing at the back, shouted out, "Hurry up and kneel down to greet his honor." Yizizi took out a lollipop from her small pocket, unwrapped the lollipop and placed it in her mouth. A cute smile appeared on Yizizi's face, and her pair of scarlet eyes became even more intense. "His honor will definitely let me eat until I'm full today." Hearing Zhu Tian's words, everyone in Ji family was stupefied, especially those elders. After recovering from their shock, all of them knelt down on the ground. "Greetings, Lord, His honor." Ji Zixin didn't believe that the person in front of him was the legendary deity. Impossible. This is a legend from thousands of years ago. Why would he suddenly descend upon this world? He is definitely an impostor. Ji Ji and Ji Ting looked towards their big brother. Just what is going on? Should we kneel down and greet him? All of the elders kneeled down. You all are deities. Ji Zixin's expression became gloomy as he asked. Wei Chang could be heard shouting out, "Impudent! How can trash like deities compare to his honor?" Yizizi, who was sucking on the lollipop, said, and all deities are trash. Reveal your identities, if not, we will deal with you all as if you are invaders. Ji Ji shouted out gravely, and the blood plate was already in his hand. Yihua lightly puffed out a mouthful of smoke, then said faintly, "How can you all know my identity? Furthermore, I have long invaded this world." Zhu Tian understood what Ji Ji meant, and he immediately threw out a flying knife, which pierced onto Ji Ji's chest. Lowering his head and looking at the familiar flying knife, Ji Ji had a dazed look on his face. Ji Ting suddenly stood up, then pointed at Zhu Tian and shouted out, "Big brother, it's him. He is the one who was playing with flying knives in the crowd, causing us to become furious, causing us to fail." Everyone in the hall inhaled a mouthful of cold air. Only now did a lot of people realize that they had fallen into someone else's trap. "You talk too much." Zhu Tian laughed lightly. The flying knife appeared once again, but it was different from before. The sharp knife pierced through Ji Ting's right cheek and came out from the left cheek, and the edge of the knife just happened to seal Ji Ting's mouth. Audacious! Ji Ji threw out the blood plate, and the blood plate headed towards Yihua's head. Yihua said faintly, "If I were to move even a single step today, it would be considered as my loss." Just as the blood plate was about to cover Yihua's head, Lai Gu, who was behind, grabbed onto the sharp edge of the blood plate and rubbed it with his hand. The sharp edge of the blade could be seen to actually stop moving. This youngster actually used his own flesh and blood to stop an ancient godly item. In actuality, Lai Gu had secretly transformed out his dragon bones. Yizi's hair moved stealthily and appeared on top of Ji Ji's head. A small mouth appeared on the head of the hair and it was looking at Ji Ji's skull. "Ji Ji! Be careful!" Ji Zixin, who was sitting on top, shouted loudly. But it was already too late. That little head had entered his body and instantly started sucking him dry. Ji Ji's limbs twitched and his eyes rolled upwards. Ji Zixin shouted loudly and prepared to attack. "If I didn't ask you to move, then don't move," Yihua said lightly. Meanwhile, Ji Zixin felt a strong pressure pressing down on him, causing him to be unable to move. Yizizi's beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons as she sucked on the food. It was so delicious. Slurp. Seeing such a scene, everyone in the Ji family was shocked. An elder slapped the ground and shouted, "Retribution! This is retribution." After sucking Ji Ji dry, Yizizi tossed him to the side and licked the corner of her lips with her scarlet tongue. He cast a glance at the people in the area, and they shrank back. Yihua could be heard saying faintly, "All of you, sit down." Let's talk about how you all are prepared to die. Yihua walked to Gi's seat and sat down. In actuality, the four of them were standing behind Yihua and were preparing to start a massacre. One of the elders could be heard shouting loudly, "You moved. You lost." Yihua went into a daze, then said faintly, "I never keep to my words. Everyone in the Ji family, how can it be like this? You were the one who said it, and now, your words don't count anymore. You can't lie to people like this. Our Ji family are all honest people, and yet, we were deceived just like this." However, just as Yihua was preparing to enjoy himself, a golden light actually descended from outside the house. The powerful pressure coming from the golden light caused everyone to be extremely shocked. When the golden light dissipated, two men and a woman could be seen appearing outside the house, and they were all emitting godly might. Chapter 285. Towards the three people who had suddenly appeared, Yihua felt curious. Yihua immediately suppressed everyone, not allowing them to speak carelessly. As for Lai Gu, when he looked at this woman, he licked his lips and even swallowed his saliva. This woman is not bad, how about I beg his honor to bestow her to me? Will his honor agree to it? Absolute Heaven was not interested in women. After giving them a glance, he no longer paid any attention to them. Wei Chang's heart was in love with Tang Bingyao, his heart could not contain any other woman. From this, it could be seen that Lai Gu was a person with great love. Yi Zizi rolled her eyes at Lai Gu. This lecherous dragon's heart is budding again. Right now, Yihua's heart was divided into two pieces. One piece was given to Qingye, and the other piece was given to Donghuang Baiji. The woman was actually walking in front of the two men. She was actually the boss. Lai Gu licked his dry lips. Yihua felt that this woman was even better at acting cool than Qingye and the others. If it wasn't for him being curious, he would have given her a slap. After seeing Madame Zi Yuan, why aren't you kneeling down and greeting her? One of the men behind shouted out gravely. Lai Gu's mouth had already turned into an O shape. God's wife, so exciting. Madame Zi Yuan's original name was Zi Shan. After marrying into the prince mansion, she was conferred the title of Madame Zi Yuan. Her strength was naturally very powerful, but she didn't know how to serve Prince Yi. Although her appearance was outstanding, Prince Yi wasn't fond of her, and thus, Prince Yi casually threw her an idle position. However, today, when Madame Zi Yuan, who was feeling bored, saw that the Ji family in the secular world had a strange phenomenon, she decided to come down to relieve her boredom and punish the Ji family while she was at it. After all, these three magnates were the little aces that the prince had left in the secular world. As soon as he arrived, he could feel the cries of vengeful spirits. It seemed that the Ji family had just killed someone. After walking in, he felt that the people of the Ji family were trembling in fear. It was very strange. The more Lai Gu looked at the woman, the more his heart was moved. This woman's skin is fair and beautiful, furthermore, her bearing is different from the three women that I have. I am currently lacking a woman like this. She was still the gentle type, Wenxia was the cool type, and Bai Xiaozhen was the cute and petite type. The only one missing was the cold and arrogant type. Besides, during this time, all three of his wives have gone to film, and he can't sleep alone. He doesn't want to touch other women. Didn't this just happen to be delivered to his doorstep? That was great. Who are you people? Ji Zizhen asked while being controlled, but he still maintained a clear mind. The man behind Madame Zi Yuan shouted out, "Impudent, you actually dare to be disrespectful in front of Madame Zi Yuan." He raised his hand and slapped the air. Paw! This sound was really loud, and in an instant, a fiery red mark appeared on Ji Zizhen's face. Madame Zi Yuan said lightly, "To think that a mere three big powers would dare to be so impudent. From the looks of it, we will have to properly discipline them. Ji Ting pulled out the knife from his mouth and shouted, "Who cares?" "Reckless!" Madame Xi Yuan shouted out. A man behind him instantly appeared in front of Ji Ting. Grabbing him by the neck with a single hand, he sealed Ji Ting's spiritual energy and strangled him to death. This was retribution for evil. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette, got into the sitting posture of a big boss, then lit up the cigarette. I didn't expect that this group of people was also here to teach Ji family a lesson. However, for her to actually not put the three big powers in her eyes, this point is rather interesting. His curiosity was piqued, and his mood became slightly better. Ji Zizhen, who was in a higher position, could only watch helplessly as his two younger brothers died miserably on the spot. Ji Zizhen's eyes were bloodshot. What was ironic was that each of the two groups of people were killing one brother each. However, I didn't expect that these three people were actually deities. If that's the case, could it be that these three people are the group of people who have been killing outside for the past few days? Madame Xi Yuan placed her gaze onto Yihua. This man's expression is indifferent, seemingly not afraid of me at all. Furthermore, he is even smoking something. This is simply a great disrespect to me. Lowly humans. To actually be so impudent in front of a deity. Yihua let go of everyone's restraints, and he was very curious as to which side would they beg for mercy from. Everyone felt that their bodies had become lighter, and their gazes were puzzled. However, no matter what, now that a deity has appeared, we have to pay our respects. Lord Deity. Other than Ji Zizhen, everyone from Ji family kneeled on the ground obediently. Of course, other than Yihua and his group. Ji Zizhen took a look at Yihua, then took a look at Madame Xi Yuan, and in the end, he made a decision in his heart. Slowly walking to the front of Madame Xi Yuan, he kneeled on the ground and shouted out, "Lord Deity." Madame Xi Yuan lightly raised her hand, and everyone was propped up by a formless power. Those who know their wrongs and are able to correct themselves can still be saved. However, some people are beyond saving. Madame Xi Yuan looked towards Yihua and his group. Ji Zizhen seemed to have forgotten that this woman had just killed his younger brother, and he hurriedly said, "Lord Deity, this group of people are invaders. If Lord Deity doesn't appear, I reckon that Ji family will be exterminated." Yihua flicked away the cigarette ash and said, "Even if I appear, I won't be able to stop your footsteps of extermination." Audacious! The two men shouted out gravely. Madame Xi Yuan waved her hand, indicating to the two subordinates to not make a move, as she still had questions that she wanted to ask. Yihua was the same as well. "And who are you?" Madame Xi Yuan asked. Yihua silently took a puff of the cigarette, then said calmly, "I am a good person." Pfft! Ji family cursed out in their hearts. If you are a good person, then there wouldn't be any bad people in this world. He is the one who barged into Ji family and killed my second brother. Lord Deity, killing this lowly one is a small matter, but this lowly one has offended your dignity. Ji Zizhen was a smart person, but he begged for mercy from the wrong side. However, even if he begged for mercy from the right side, the consequences would still be the same. Since Yihua had already made his decision, he wouldn't change it easily. Is what he said true or not? Madame Xi Yuan questioned gravely. Yihua asked curiously, "They messed up my plans and killed a lot of innocent people. I am grieved and hateful." Grieved and hateful. Indeed, I am grieved and hateful. Yihua didn't lie, he is just grieving and hateful for his own plans. Lord Deity, don't believe him. Yihua said faintly, "Zhu Tian, let her take a look." Zhu Tian took out his phone, then walked in front of Madame Xi Yuan with a smile on his face and opened up the video. The video was filled with Ji family's brutality and the evidence of Ji family covering up the truth. Those people were originally mine. And in the end, they were killed by Ji family. Thus, it shouldn't be too much for me to exterminate a family, right? Yi Hua said gravely. Madame Si Yuan turned her head around and looked towards Ji Zizhen. What else do you have to quibble about? Lord Deity, Ji Zizhen didn't know how to explain himself. Could it be that I am going to swallow up other big powers? If that's the case, my head is going to fall onto the ground. Madame Si Yuan said faintly, for deceiving a deity, your soul shall be extinguished. Madame Si Yuan could be seen slapping onto the top of Ji Zizhen's head. Ji Zizhen opened his eyes wide and was in disbelief. How big of a matter is this? Deceiving a person is equivalent to killing them. This man also deceived everyone just now. Why isn't he dead yet? Furthermore, he is still smoking like a big shot. I am not willing to accept this. A nameless flame started burning out from within Ji Zizhen's body, and very quickly, Ji Zizhen turned into a flaming man. Chapter 286. Alright, this made Yi Hua recall back in the past, how many humans would act cool in front of me. Only at the very last moment, would they understand how wonderful it was to act cool in front of me. After all, the difference in strength was the biggest flaw. For example, this so-called deity in front of me, I really don't know who gave her the courage to actually say such a thing. Doesn't she know that today is the last time you can act cool? His honor was offended, and the 4 people behind him were already getting restless. Even Lai Gu had the urge to kill this woman in front of him. She is overestimating herself too much. His honor can only be revered, and cannot be offended. This is a crime that will result in the execution of all 9 generations of one's family. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and signaled the 4 people behind him to not act recklessly. Although this woman was very disrespectful towards me, there are still some things that I want to know. For example, the 3 insignificant big shots, what is the meaning of this deity? Is this deity of hers the same as the deity from my side? Or are they just colleagues? Or are they just superiors and subordinates? This has once again aroused my curiosity. This woman sure knows how to save herself. Hearing that, Yi Hua took a puff of his cigarette, then asked curiously, are all you deities so arrogant? Madame Si Yuan seemed to have become interested as well. She signaled the 2 people behind her to not act recklessly. I have never seen such a daring man before, let's see what he has to say. Madame Si Yuan walked over and sat on Ji Ting's seat, while her 2 subordinates tossed Ji Zizhen and Ji Ting's corpses to the side. Ji family's people in the surroundings didn't even dare to breathe loudly, because they couldn't afford to offend these people. From Madame Si Yuan's sitting posture, it could be seen that this woman wasn't like Dong Wang Baiji, who had the appearance of being the sole ruler. Madame Si Yuan's sitting posture was more like that of a married woman. Her beautiful face was like the calm surface of a lake, there wasn't any fluctuation in her emotions, and within her eyes, there was only a trace of curiosity. Seemingly because of this, Yi Hua and the others didn't die. Unbeknownst to them, Yi Hua's curiosity was only aroused. You guys can still stand and talk. Madame Si Yuan said lightly, deities are naturally above all living things, this logic is very simple. How many overlords do you deities worship? Yi Hua asked curiously. Back then, I killed quite a lot of supremes, and from the number of supremes, I can determine the strength of this wave of deities. If there are many supremes, then naturally, they are strong. If there are few supremes, Madame Si Yuan laughed lightly. It must be said that Madame Si Yuan's smile was rather comfortable to look at. If not, Madame Si Yuan wouldn't have been fancied by Her Highness. Just that, Yi Hua was no longer interested in other women, Wei Chang was the same as well, and Zhu Tian was not interested in women at all. Only Lai Gu was slightly moved by Madame Si Yuan. However, this kind of feeling was different from before. This kind of feeling was the feeling of wanting to hang him up and beat him up. To actually dare to be disrespectful to his honor. Candles and whips served his honor. Supreme beings are lofty and unparalleled existences. Worshipping them is disrespectful to them. After pausing for a moment, Madame Si Yuan continued to ask, "You calling yourself the Supreme Exalted is already a blasphemy towards the Supreme Exalted. You will not be able to escape from death." Yihua laughed lightly. "Overlords are all lofty and unparalleled existences, then what kind of existences are Supreme Overlords? Supreme Honorable. Supreme Honorable won't appear in the future." Madame Si Yuan said faintly, seemingly losing her patience. Yihua flicked off a bit of cigarette ash, then said calmly, "Congratulations, the Supreme Honorable that you said will never appear is currently sitting in front of you. According to what you said just now, shouldn't you be kneeling in front of me and praying to me?" Impudent. The two people behind Madame Zi Yuan burst out with an astonishing godly might, and all of Ji family's members who were inside the hall spurted out blood and died. What dogs hid deities, they are even more formidable than the Supreme Overlord when it comes to killing people. Just that, the Supreme Overlord is doing it openly, while the two of you are doing it sneakily. Madame Zi Yuan's two subordinates rushed towards Yihua. However, when they were less than a meter away from Yihua, their bodies stopped, and soon after, they returned to Madame Zi Yuan's side. Zhu Tian's expression was completely normal, and he didn't seem like he was being controlled by someone. Zhu Tian naturally knew of his honor's intentions. Killing people was not his honor's original intention, toying with people was his original intention. Madame Zi Yuan's expression sunk slightly. "I am naturally aware of the abnormality of my two subordinates, but I don't know why. It is impossible for these few people to do anything under my nose. Could it be that my husband gave them some sort of restriction? This can only be the only possibility." Yihua said faintly, "This conversation is about to end here. Madam, I will give you a bit of time to consider, are you going to kneel or not? Wei Chang, Yi Zizi, didn't the two of you want to have a competition? Although there aren't a million people here, there are at least tens of thousands of people. Go and have some fun." Yihua said faintly. Madame Si Yuan could be seen shouting out, "This Ji family is my husband's servant. You are still not qualified." Right after Madame Zi Yuan finished speaking, a godly might burst out from Madame Zi Yuan's body, and the spiritual energy of the world gathered towards her from all directions. Madame Zi Yuan's entire body seemed like a dazzling sun that was emitting out the godly might of the world. The entire hall was instantly turned into ashes, and even the corpses were vaporized. As expected of a deity, just her aura alone is already so formidable. However, in Yihua's eyes, Madame Zi Yuan was merely trying to please the crowd. Watching this woman's performance is also not bad. For offending a deity, I, the madam, shall bestow upon the two of you the death penalty. Madame Zi Yuan shouted out. Yihua let out a light sigh. "I have already said it, if I tell you to wait, then just wait. There is no need for you to be in such a hurry to die." Yihua lightly flicked his finger. All of Madame Zi Yuan's mana was instantly sealed by Yihua, as if her power supply was cut off. Madame Zi Yuan powerlessly retreated a few steps back and sat down absent-mindedly. Madame Zi Yuan looked at Yihua blankly. "This is impossible. He was actually able to seal me in an instant. Even my husband was unable to do it, but this man was able to do it. Could it be that he really is? This is definitely impossible. Overlords are existences that are like nothingness. How can they possibly live in this kind of low-grade world? Let's begin, we still have to rush back." Yihua said lightly. Yi Zizi smiled, "Gluttonous monster, let's compete, I will satisfy you." Wei Chang said with a slight smile. What an amiable subordinate, talking and laughing with each other. Then, look at those two. As the leader of the team, Yihua wasn't that serious right now. When his subordinates were joking around with each other, it would also increase their friendship. However, when it is time to be serious, one should still be serious. Wei Chang and Yi Zizi did not move. Immediately, Wei Chang's hands transformed into countless tentacles that looked like pythons. Those that have trypophobia would definitely vomit. Meanwhile, Yi Zizi's hair extended out of the hall along the ground. In an instant, the entire Ji family was filled with screams that soared to the heavens. Looking down from the sky, Ji family seemed to have been coiled by pythons. Furthermore, those blood-red hair looked very strange and chilling. Madame Xi Yuan gazed at Wei Chang and Yi Zizi. Those tentacles that Wei Chang used were being transported into Madame Xi Yuan's body one by one. From the shape of the tentacles, one could easily tell what those tentacles were. Madame Xi Yuan couldn't help but retch. Wei Chang is simply not human. Chapter 287. About 2 minutes later, Wei Chang and Yi Zizi returned to normal. Wei Chang burped. Yi Zizi, slurp, Yihua asked faintly, who won? Your Honor, subordinate is slightly better. Wei Chang said modestly. Yi Zizi refused to accept it and said in a tender voice, shameless. You even ate the corpse that I sucked. Wei Chang chuckled without saying a word. All right, I, the Supreme Overlord, will declare the match to be a draw. Yihua said. Yi Zizi pouted her small mouth, and Wei Chang patted onto Yi Zizi's head with a smile. Looking at the two people behind Madame Xi Yuan, Yihua said faintly, deal with them. Yi Zizi took the lead and stretched out 2 strands of her beautiful hair. Right in front of Madame Xi Yuan, she sucked the 2 of them dry, leaving behind only their skin. Your Honor, this deity's taste is indeed different. It has been a long time since I enjoyed a deity's taste. What Yi Zizi meant was that I want to suck that woman's taste as well. Even Wei Chang started to purse his lips. It should be very delicious. That tender skin should be especially good to chew. Lai Gu was unwilling. This woman wants to be given to me. Have you thought it through? I, the Supreme Overlord, am very impatient. Yihua said lightly. You are truly in Jizun. Madame Xi Yuan asked gravely. I haven't been a supreme being for many years. Hurry up and decide, they're not full yet. Yihua urged. In actuality, I wanted to spare this woman's life. My woman actually became your slave. Gods all had their own servants to do things for them, and the 3 leaders were such servants. This enmity has been formed. I'll settle it slowly. Madame Xi Yuan naturally understood the strength of this person. For this person to be able to easily seal me, at the very least, he is about to enter the ranks of overlords. Paying respect to Yihua out of politeness is a must, but I just feel uncomfortable in my heart. It was as if he had been slapped in the face. Madame Xi Yuan slowly stood up, then bowed slightly in front of Yihua, which could be considered as a greeting. Looking at Madame Xi Yuan's actions, Yihua said faintly, is this how you deities pay respect to an overlord? Not even kneeling down. Supremes are figures revered by the gods. Although you have strength, you are not the supremes conferred by the heavens. Yihua once again lit up a cigarette. It's this sentence again, what a joke. Wei Chang bellowed, kneel. Plop. Under the enormous spiritual pressure, Madame Xi Yuan finally knelt down in front of Yihua. Looking at Madame Xi Yuan who was kneeling on the ground, Yihua said gravely, what the hell are you talking about? All gods have servants, and my wife is actually one of your servants as well. Tell me, how should I punish you and your gods? Madame Xi Yuan who was kneeling on the ground said gravely. Madame Xi Yuan gasped for breath, and her face was flushed red from anger. However, there was nothing she could do. As a high and mighty deity, apart from kneeling to the heavens and earth, he had never even knelt to his husband. But today, he was kneeling in the mortal world. Since you don't want to speak, I will first propose your punishment plan. Look at you, you seem to be married. Remarry. If you want Dong Huang Baiji to be my slave, then I will have your woman serve my little brother. I wonder what kind of expression those deities will have when they see this. I am really looking forward to it. Madame Si Yuan, Lai Gu felt that his opportunity had come. Madame Si Yuan shouted out gravely, "You can't do this. I have a husband." Yihua said gravely, "Can't your noble and delicate body be tainted by others? I have yet to make you a slave, you should feel fortunate." Madame Si Yuan wanted to resist, but her entire body was being suppressed, and she was unable to move at all. Facing a powerful being, there was really nothing she could do. "Zhu Tian, do you want it?" Yihua asked curiously. In actuality, he knew that Zhu Tian wasn't interested in women, and furthermore, this woman wasn't worthy of Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian smiled respectfully, "Your Honor, Zhu Tian doesn't get close to women, thank your Honor for your good intentions." Lai Gu, who was at the side, was overjoyed. "Your Honor, hurry up and call me, you are the one who understands Lai Gu the most, hurry up and bestow it to me." Yihua rubbed onto his forehead, "Wei Chang, among my subordinates, who else isn't married? Or those who don't have a girlfriend?" Lai Gu's expression sunk as he hurriedly said, "Your Honor. Bestow it to subordinate. You already have 3, what else do you want? You are occupying the latrine without taking a shit." Yihua shouted out. "I am truly worried." Lai Gu let out a heavy sigh. "Who doesn't want to have more wives? My godly wife is gone just like that. And His Honor even said that I am occupying the latrine without taking a shit, there is no such thing at all." Wei Chang said respectfully, "Right now, Death Mage and Sun Fang are stuck together like glue, and this is even with His Honor's matchmaking. If there is anyone who doesn't have a girlfriend yet, I am afraid that it would only be the Red and Green brothers." Madame Si Yuan's eyebrows wrinkled. This His Honor is actually matchmaking subordinates, and he is even a matchmaker. What the hell are these Red and Green brothers? What should I do? I am currently sealed, I am unable to run away at all. Yihua said faintly, "These Red and Green brothers' performance is indeed not bad. Not only did they escort my daughter back, their performance in the first mission was also outstanding, and they are in line with my expectations. Wei Chang. Call the 2 of them over." Right now, the Green and Red brothers were currently, the scene was a bit comical. The television could be seen to be switched on, and the television could be seen to be playing aerobics. 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 3 2 3 4. Tang Wei was leading the team, and the Green and Red brothers were standing behind Tang Wei. The Green and Red brothers were wearing green and red skin-tight clothes, and a sweat-absorbing headband was tied on their heads. Right now, Big Brother Green was truly green from head to toe, and Little Brother Red was joyful. "Come. Sprinkle your sweat and jump." The coach's voice rang out from the television. The Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva as they looked at sister-in-law's perky buttocks. "Sister-in-law is too sexy. Big Brother, what kind of wife do you think I should look for in the future?" Little Brother Red asked curiously. Big Brother Green paused for a moment, then consoled, "Little brother, it will be fine if it's a woman. Don't have too high of a requirement, after all, there are too many bachelors nowadays." Then, Big Brother, what requirements do you have for your wife? Little Brother Red asked. However, both of their gazes were placed onto sister-in-law's perky buttocks. Big Brother Green let out a light sigh. Big Brother doesn't have high requirements, as long as the wife is half as good as sister-in-law, it will be fine. That's right, if I had a wife like sister-in-law, it would be fine even if my lifespan was shortened by half a day. Little brother Red sighed. Tang Wei turned her head around and shouted out, "Have you seen enough?" "Haven't seen enough, haven't seen enough." The Green and Red brothers were still reminiscing about their own wives, and thus, they casually said it out. Tang Wei's beautiful eyes turned cold as she picked up the chicken feather stick that was at the side. "Stretch out your palm." "Sister-in-law, we also don't want to do that, it's just that sister-in-law, you are too sexy." Big Brother Green hurriedly explained. That's right, sister-in-law is the most beautiful woman that we have ever seen, Big Brother is really fortunate." Tang Wei snorted, "At least you two know how to talk, but don't look around, be careful that your big brother might dig your eyes out." The Green and Red brothers let out a breath of relief. Sister-in-law is only gentle towards Big Brother. I am so jealous of Big Brother. However, the Green and Red brothers still didn't know that a meat pie had fallen from the sky. "The two of you, come over for a bit." Wei Chang's voice rang out within the Green and Red brothers' minds. Chapter 288. When the Green and Red brothers appeared at the scene, Yi Hua was shocked by what they were wearing. "Your Honor! Your Honor!" The Green and Red brothers hurriedly shouted out. Why didn't Uncle Wei say this earlier? For such a big matter like meeting His Honor, we definitely have to be a bit more formal, and green and red cloaks are definitely a must. Look at what they are wearing right now, it's even a tight-fitting one-piece, and there's a big lump at the crotch of their pants. This is so awkward. There's even a woman who is kneeling here, what's going on? Wei Chang coughed lightly. Green and Red brothers, His Honor has bestowed upon the two of you a marriage. The Green and Red brothers were stupefied. Just a moment ago, I was still thinking about my wife, and His Honor actually pulled me into a marriage. His Honor is truly too understanding towards subordinates. Could it be that the woman who is kneeling right now? Although I can't see her face, judging from her figure, she should be very good. Madame Si Yuan slowly turned her head around to take a look at what kind of people the Green and Red brothers are. When she saw them, they indeed live up to their reputation. Red and green. The Green and Red brothers saw it. They saw the woman's face. My God, she's so beautiful, too beautiful, too beautiful. I'm so excited, His Honor is simply too great. Yi Hua waved his hand, and the Green and Red brothers walked in front of Yi Hua and kneeled down on one knee. Are you two satisfied with this woman? Yi Hua asked faintly. How can I not be satisfied? I am simply too satisfied. Even in my dreams, I would always dream of having a fairy sister like this. Subordinate is satisfied. Subordinate is satisfied. Madame Si Yuan's heart was about to collapse. To actually ask two humans if they are satisfied. This is simply trampling on my dignity. Yi Hua let out a light sigh. I will say this first, this woman has been with a man before, do you two mind? I don't mind. I don't mind. Yi Hua became curious and asked, Little Red, tell me, why don't you mind? Your Honor, there are too few pure women in this era, and most of them have already been taken away. Initially, I only requested for the woman to be with me, but I didn't expect that Your Honor would be so worried about subordinates' matters. Subordinate is touched. While speaking, little brother Red actually started crying. Other than my mother, only His Honor treats me so well. Even Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were only chosen out of millions of people. From this, it could be seen just how rare Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were. Since the two of you don't mind, the two of you can discuss who is going to take over the wedding. I, the Supreme Overlord, will host a wedding for the two of you. Yi Hua was in a pretty good mood. Only now did the Green and Red brothers realize a problem. There was only one woman here. How were they going to split her up? Big Brother Green didn't say anything, and little brother Red also didn't say anything. The green and red brothers wouldn't grow apart because of a woman, right? Little brother, how about we use the old method? Big brother Green took a deep breath and said. Little brother Red nodded his head. All right, best of three. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Wait a minute. Madame Yuan immediately called out to stop Madame Yuan. How could his own fate be decided by rock paper scissors? Yihua looked towards Madame Yuan and asked faintly, what happened? Madame Yuan was not a fool. She knew that she would definitely not be able to escape, and even if she wanted to die, it would be hard for her to do so. If she had to make a choice, she would have to make the choice herself. He would look for an opportunity to escape in the future. Since it has come to this, I want to make the choice myself. Madame Yuan said gravely. This kind of humiliation, I will definitely take revenge for it in the future. Yihua felt that it was fine, then turned towards the green and red brothers and asked, do the two of you agree? The green and red brothers glanced at each other and nodded. All right, stand up. It's not good to kneel in this kind of atmosphere. Yihua suddenly liked this kind of feeling a lot. Seems like as the boss, I have to take care of the happiness of my underlings. Also, this Zhu Tian, it won't do if he doesn't like women. In the future, I will find a good woman for him. The three stood up and faced each other. Madame Yuan's expression was calm, there was no nervousness nor shyness on her face. On the other hand, the green and red brothers' faces were as red as a monkey's buttocks. They were so nervous that they wanted to die. Their hands were even holding each other's hands. They were really good gay friends. I choose him. Madame Yuan said faintly. Big brother Green gradually opened his mouth wide in disbelief. Little brother Red hugged onto his big brother and spun around, then shouted out excitedly, Big brother, I have a wife. Haha. That's great. Big brother Green had a dumbfounded look on his face. Why did he choose his little brother and not himself? Don't you have any idea what's going on? Forgive me. In actuality, Madame Yuan had her own motive for choosing little brother Red. Little brother Red looks like an idiot and is very easy to deceive. From his gaze, it can be seen that I am able to control him and use him to escape. Don't look at this big brother Green's frivolous and exaggerated appearance, in actuality, he is calm and reserved. He belongs to the type that is hard to control. The excited little brother Red gave his big brother a passionate kiss on the spot. This caused Yihua to laugh heartily. I am happy today. The four subordinates behind Yihua also revealed a smile on their faces. His honor sure has put in a lot of effort. Big brother, little brother wants to break up with you. In the future, you have to take good care of yourself. Little brother Red was reluctant to part with Yihua, seemingly as if he was going to separate from the family in the future. Big brother Green was speechless, and his heart was collapsing. Little brother actually has such a beautiful wife. As a big brother, I should be happy, but I am unable to be happy. I am so depressed. Little Green, don't be disheartened, I will naturally find someone for you in the future. Yihua said with a smile on his face. Just for the sake of bringing Ollie back, not to mention one, I will even find a group of them. Hearing that his honor had expressed his stance, Big brother Green immediately became energetic again. Let's break up then, his honor can introduce someone better to me in the future. Holding on to his big brother's hand, little brother Red said gratefully, Big brother, little brother is going to get married soon, I hope that you can continue on your path of being single for a long time. Big brother Green. Wrong, heaven never bars one's way, I will have a wife soon. Little brother will be leaving first then. Big brother Green slapped onto little brother Red's shoulder unhappily, you are forgetting about me just because you have a wife. Alright, everyone, quiet down. Yihua said faintly. The green and red brothers stopped quarreling. Little Red, leave your wedding to me. Yihua was still very concerned about the green and red brothers, and this was all because of Ali. Little brother Red immediately squatted down. Thank you, Your Honor. It is still too early to thank me, because I still have a mission for you. Yihua said gravely, and a faint murderous intent could be heard from his tone. Everyone present was slightly startled. Ever since his honor came in, his honor has been very calm, but now, he is emitting out murderous intent. What does he mean? Your Honor, please speak. Subordinate will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. Right now, little brother Red is his honor's fan. If anyone dares to disrespect his honor, I will exterminate his entire family. Yihua's murderous intent could be heard. I will give you 2 months' time. If she is not pregnant, you are to personally kill her. Right now, only Wei Cheng knew what his honor meant. Back then, Death Mage and Sun Fang were also frightened by his honor. From the looks of it, his honor is indeed treating the green and red brothers very well. Chapter 289. Madame Si Yuan's expression became gloomy. So shameless. How shameless. What is your name? Yihua asked Madame Zi Yuan. Zi Shan. Yihua nodded his head. Since he is someone that you have chosen, then you should properly cooperate with him. Don't stray more than 10 meters away from him, if not, my little brother will become a bachelor again. Zi Shan's expression sunk. This is equivalent to sealing off all of my paths. Alright, let's kiss each other to express our gratitude. After that, I will be leaving too. Yihua said faintly. Ali is still waiting for me to return home. Kiss. Looking at little brother Red who was dressed entirely in red, Zi Shan didn't want to touch him no matter what. Big brother Green pushed little brother Red. Right now, Big brother Green's mood wasn't that gloomy anymore. After all, his honor said that he was going to introduce someone to me, and that person definitely wouldn't be bad. It was indeed not bad, but Big brother Green almost collapsed, because it was a cross race. Little brother Red was pushed to Zi Shan's side. Zi Shan was roughly 1.7 meters tall, while little brother Red was roughly 1.7 meters tall. When the two of them stood together, they looked quite compatible. However, little brother Red was very shy. Not knowing what to do, little brother Red scratched onto the back of his head and didn't dare to face the woman in front of him. He felt that this woman's aura was very similar to that of his homeroom teacher. Hee, little brother Red continued to smile foolishly. Kiss, what are you waiting for? Big brother Green shouted out anxiously. He was really anxious to death. Back then, the novels he wrote were so explosive, but now, he didn't even dare to kiss them. Yihua said faintly, Xiao Hong, a man should be a bit more courageous. Yes, Your Honor. Little brother Red took in a deep breath, then exhaled. While circulating, suddenly, Zi Shan grabbed onto little brother Red's collar, then pulled. Little brother Red was not allowed to watch. Little brother Red opened his eyes wide and had a dumbfounded look on his face. The softness on little brother Red's lips felt so real. Is this a kiss? It felt so comfortable. However, Zi Shan's thoughts were different. Right now, she wanted to let them know that she seemed to have accepted the truth, but she was only thinking about how to escape. She just didn't expect her first kiss to be given to a despicable human. In actuality, the reason why Zi Shan was still a virgin right now was because she wasn't willing to serve His Highness, and thus, she was punished. However, I didn't expect that little brother Red would be able to take advantage of Zi Shan. If after the punishment ends, His Highness finds out that his beloved wife had disappeared, and that her beloved wife had even gotten together with a non-mainstream man, he would definitely explode from anger. Little brother Red had really won 5 million yuan. In actuality, this was even better than winning 5 million yuan. After all, he was a god-level figure. Li Gu's heart was dripping blood. God's wife was actually snatched away by my little brother. I'll teach you how to comb your hair in the middle. How dare you steal Big Brother's woman? I will prepare the new house. Wei Chang can stay at your place for the time being. Yi Hua stood up and said faintly. Yes. Today's matter shall end here, all of you can disperse. After finished speaking, Yi Hua disappeared from the scene. Very quickly, Zhu Tian, Yi Zizi and Li Gu also disappeared. Wei Chang looked at little brother Red and said with a smile, what are you blanking out for? Let's go out for lunch. Big brother Green grabbed onto his little brother's shoulder, and said teasingly, isn't it great? Isn't it great? Behave yourself, don't laugh foolishly. Little brother Red was currently smiling foolishly. Happiness came too suddenly. Zishan's face was calm. When the group returned to the rented house, they saw that Tang Wei was currently washing vegetables and preparing to cook. You guys are back. Quickly go and buy some green onions. Tang Wei stood in the kitchen and shouted. Wei Chang smiled and said, Xiao Tang, don't do it anymore. Xiao Hong has a happy occasion today. Let's go to the restaurant for lunch. Happy occasion. Tang Wei turned her head around to take a look, and saw that there was another woman who had an extremely beautiful appearance. The woman's dressing and appearance looked very noble. She is? Tang Wei asked curiously. Wei Chang held on to Tang Wei's shoulder and said with a smile, this is Zishan, his honor betrothed her to Little Red. Tang Wei had a shocked expression on her face, then said happily, Xiao Hong, congratulations, you have to treat us to lunch. Treat, of course I have to treat. Little brother Red said embarrassedly with his head lowered. From time to time, he would take a look at Zishan. So beautiful. I actually have such a beautiful wife, I feel like I'm dreaming. But we don't have enough rooms in our house. Tang Wei pursed her lips. Originally, it was supposed to be a world of 2 people, but now, there are more and more people in the house. Wei Chang rubbed onto Tang Wei's beautiful hair, his honor is very attentive this time, he will definitely arrange everything properly. Big brother Green said hurriedly, I will just sleep on the sofa for the next few days, I will give my room to them. Big brother, you treat me so well, let's not break up anymore. Little brother Red had a grateful expression on his face. Big brother has finally become a real big brother for once. Big brother Green blushed with shame and said hurriedly, I don't want to be with you anymore, quickly break up. Everyone laughed happily, and only Zishan had a calm expression on her face. With such strength, they are actually living such a life, I really don't understand them. Little brother Red's money was limited. The few of them came to a small fast food restaurant and arranged a table for them. This could be counted as treating them to lunch first. It was already noon when Yi Hua returned back to Leisure Bar. Originally, because the plan was messed up, Yi Hua was feeling gloomy in his heart, but I didn't expect that it would turn out to be little brother Red, causing his mood to become much better. Standing beside the bedroom's window, Yi Hua lit up a stick of cigarette. The wedding of the underling naturally has to be grand, and as the boss, I have to make proper arrangements. Things like the wedding room, who should I invite, and so on. Furthermore, right now, the plan is already messed up, most of the bosses in the south have already passed away, and it would take too long for me to wait for them to recover their battle strength. Let's put these things aside for now. Thinking up to here, Yi Hua decided to discuss with his 2 wives about how big the scale of the wedding should be, and how big 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 the wedding should be. Suddenly, Yi Hua felt a surge of spiritual energy coming out from his body, causing his brows to wrinkle. Yi Hua immediately threw away the cigarette, but this time, he didn't lie down on the bed, instead, he fell onto the floor, and his hand was still stretching towards the wheelchair. Furthermore, Yihua revealed an expression of trying very hard. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji decided to come back. After all, there was still a disabled man and a daughter that they had to take care of at home. Yihua! Yihua! The two women cried out in surprise and immediately went over to support Yihua. After not being at home for a few days, Yihua became like this. What a failure of a wife. Let go of me, you two still know to come back. Yihua flung the wheelchair. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji looked at each other. As expected, Yihua is angry. Qinya said fawningly, we were wrong, don't be angry anymore, darling, be good, move aside, don't block me. Yihua said faintly, then used all his strength to crawl onto the wheelchair. I have already paved the way for my recovery to be successful. The two women were also overjoyed. My husband is finally getting a bit better, but right now, he is throwing a tantrum. What should I do? Donghuang Baiji signaled to Qinya to go up. Yihua likes you the most. Don't think about seducing me, I don't fall for it anymore. Qinya could be heard leaning over and whispering a few words into Yihua's ears. Yihua deeply wrinkled his brows. Really? When have I ever lied to you? You are the only one who lies to me. Qinya pinched onto Yihua's cheeks petulantly. Chapter 290. Alright, in the future, if you two still don't return at night, just watch how I will teach you two a lesson. How is the matter going? Yihua asked. When Qinya told Donghuang Baiji about what happened today, she also told Yihua about her suspicions, causing Yihua's mind to tremble. They could actually see that it was a conspiracy. This was not a good thing, and now he had to use another matter to divert their attention. Do you still remember the Green and Red brothers? Xiao Hong is getting married. Qinya naturally knew about it. These two brothers were good people, they had sent Ali here from afar. However, Donghuang Baiji had only met Ali once, and thus, she didn't know about the twists and turns between Ali and Donghuang Baiji. Qinya explained what happened to Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji was also the kind of woman who would repay kindness. Actually, I've already accepted those two brothers as my little brother's little brother's little brother. I'll take care of their entire wedding. Do you have any objections? Yihua asked faintly. However, that expression of his seemed to be saying, if you all dare to have any objections, you are forcing me to lose my temper. Donghuang Baiji definitely wouldn't have any objections. However, she asked curiously, Yihua, do you have the money to hold a wedding for my little brother's little brother? Hee, isn't what's yours mine? Don't ask this kind of very stupid question. Yihua slapped onto Qinya's perky butt, causing Qinya to be very unhappy. After the flirting between the husband and wife, Yihua sat on the sofa, and the two wives snuggled up to him. From the looks of it, my injuries are almost completely healed. Do you all have any plans for the future? Yihua asked curiously. Qinya leaned on Yihua's shoulder and said faintly with her beautiful eyes closed, give birth to the child in peace. What about you, Baiji? Yihua asked. Donghuang Baiji said shyly, give birth to another one. This was the rhythm, comfortable. Yihua decided that for the next few years, his vision would be placed on his wife and child. The South would not be able to rise up in the next few years, and thus, his plan could only be put on hold. Sun Fang no longer needed to look after the Ying family. As for absolute heaven, if he wanted to become a professor and meditate, then so be it. Right now, there was nothing for him to do. With 3 celebrities supporting him, Lai Gu's life was very free and easy. Wei Chong was still trying to figure out how to push down Tang Bingyao. It was reckoned that even after little brother Red's child came out, Wei Chong would still not be able to make any progress. Yi Zizi was fooling around with Qin Yutong all day long, and the school term was about to start soon, so I have to supervise them. In any case, I don't have anything else to do. It was more or less arranged like that. Yihua, I want to go and thank that green and red brothers. Donghuang Baiji said tenderly. It is fortunate that my daughter ran into them. If not, what would I do if she ran into some bad people? Yihua laughed lightly. All right then. In actuality, I was the one who pulled the strings for little brother Red's marriage. Take it as my thanks. Yihua, how are you going to pull the strings if you stay at home? What kind of women do you know? Qinya hooked onto Yihua's chin and asked curiously. Actually, that gaze was asking, are you hiding another woman outside again? Donghuang Baiji also looked at Yihua with a serious expression. This is something that is absolutely not allowed. Holy shit, I said soon. He had dug a pit for himself. In any case, I'm also a person from the cultivation world. I remembered that I saved a woman in the past, and that woman wanted to return the favor. Didn't I get in touch with Wei Chang? Afterward, the two of them hit it off the moment they met, and I did a good deed. Yihua said faintly. He didn't even blink when he lied. Qinya responded, then said, let me give Wei Chang a call and ask. Up to you. Yihua expressed that he didn't mind. This woman's thoughts are indeed scary. I have to be more careful in the future. Yihua hurriedly contacted Wei Chang and tried to get some information out of her. After ending the call, Qinya hugged onto Yihua's arm and said happily, Yihua, you are really too good, you even know how to be a matchmaker. You were still doubting me just now, what do you think I should do? Yihua snorted coldly. Qinya looked at Yihua coquettishly, then stuck out her perky butt. So alluring. This woman, I really love and hate her at the same time. Then, let's make a trip over tonight, lest you all say that I'm stingy. Yihua said faintly. If Baiji wants to go and thank Yihua, then let's go. After telling Dong Huangli that they are going to meet the green and red brothers tonight, the little fellow was also extremely excited. The buried love family is finally going to be reunited. When Wei Chang found out that his honor was going to come over tonight, he informed the green and red brothers, and of course, Zishan as well. Wei Chang told Zishan not to speak carelessly when the time comes, if not, the consequences will be very serious. In actuality, the atmosphere right now was still very awkward, especially between Little Brother Red and Zishan. Little Brother Red had been laughing foolishly for a few hours already. If it wasn't for the fact that Zishan knew Little Brother Red, Zishan would definitely think that Little Brother Red was an idiot. And when Zishan saw the foolish Little Brother Red, she even had the heart to die. To actually laugh to that extent, I might as well just commit suicide, right? I really can't live on anymore. Big brother, what should I say to Zishan now? Little Brother Red could only ask his big brother for help. Big brother has experience in love, even though he was cheated on by someone. That was a tragedy that was hard to forget. Big brother Green said based on his own experience, don't be anxious, go and ask her right now. Is her mood good today? Ask Zishan if her mood is good. This question is too sharp, too powerful. Little Brother Red naturally listened to his big brother. Sitting beside Zishan, Little Brother Red asked in a low voice, are you in a good mood today? Zishan wished that she could slap Little Brother Red to death. You asked me if my mood is good or not. I was thrown to you like a commodity by your big brother, and you asked me if my mood is good or not, and I am even going to give birth to a child with you within 2 months. If I don't give birth, I am going to die. Tell me if my mood is good or not. Seeing that Zishan's face was black and not speaking, Little Brother Red walked over to Big Brother Green's side. She isn't speaking. Little Brother Red said helplessly. Right now, Big Brother Green was a bit glad that Zishan didn't choose me. Zishan is simply like an ancestor, I have to worship her. Big Brother Green patted onto his little brother's shoulder and said, "Don't be discouraged, she might be too excited to speak." "Is that so? Why do I feel that she wants to kill me?" "This means that your feeling is correct." Big Brother Green sighed. Little Brother Red had a bitter look on his face. "I have a wife, yet I don't seem to have one. No wonder even Big Brother isn't jealous of me anymore. Big Brother, what should I do now?" Little Brother Red also wanted to talk to a beautiful woman. Big Brother Green scratched onto the green fur on his head. "How about this? You go and ask her if the weather is good or not. If that doesn't work, continue to ask her, what kind of movies does she like to watch? Where does she like to travel to? What kind of food does she like to eat? How many people does she have at home? How many villas does she have? How many supercars does she have? How many mines does she have? Big Brother, look at the way she is dressed, she is definitely a rich person. Let's not ask about the rest, let's just ask her if the food she ate today is good or not." Finished speaking, the little brother walked up to Zishan. Even if Big Brother Green wanted to pull Zishan, he wouldn't be able to do so, because Zishan didn't eat anything at all. "Zishan, is the fish we ate today delicious?" Little Brother Red really asked Zishan, causing Big Brother Green to hold on to his forehead. Zishan couldn't take it anymore and shouted out lightly, "Don't bother me." Little Brother Red was startled, and his expression gradually collapsed, seemingly as if he had received a huge injury. Chapter 291. Upon seeing this, Big Brother Green frowned. Originally, he was happy for his little brother, but this woman wasn't someone easy to deal with, and his little brother couldn't control her at all. "Don't you know your little brother's personality? He was timid and kind-hearted. He wouldn't even dare to kill a chicken. He would blush whenever he saw a beautiful girl. No, he would blush whenever he saw someone of the opposite sex, let alone someone beautiful. This Zishan is beautiful, isn't she? She is a top-notch beauty. Now that she has smashed onto my little brother's head, how can I not be happy? Even in my dreams, I would be able to wake up with a smile on my face. Unfortunately, why would such a cold and arrogant woman like my little brother? My little brother is completely suppressed by his honor." Wei Chang and Tang Wei were squatting at the side, peeling the leaves of a vegetable. Seeing that little Brother Red's expression wasn't right, then taking a look at Zishan who was sitting on the sofa like a big boss, Wei Chang's expression sunk. This woman doesn't even realize what kind of situation she is in. Wiping his hands, Wei Chang stood up. "Uncle Wei, don't be angry," Tang Wei said with concern. "It has already been so many days, but the wolfberry tea that Uncle Wei drank is still not working. Seems like I have to go and look for a more powerful folk prescription." Wei Chang patted on Tang Wei's shoulder. "I am a respectable person, if I can move my mouth, then I will definitely not use my hands." Sitting on the sofa, Wei Chang asked faintly, "Zishan, what's wrong? Are you not satisfied?" Zishan coldly said, "None of you are good people." Hearing this, Wei Chang chuckled. "You, deities, are a good person again. In your eyes, humans are nothing more than ants. However, in the eyes of his honor, you deities are also nothing more than ants." Zishan did not say anything. After pausing for a moment, Wei Chang continued, "We did not tie you up. If you feel that this is a great humiliation, you can walk away now. If you are more than 10 meters away, you will be free within 10 steps." Zishan clenched her fists, and a struggling expression could be seen on her beautiful face. She had already tried it before, but when she took the first step, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. When she took the second step, she felt as if her entire body was about to split apart. She no longer dared to take the third step. For the sake of dignity, he could choose a painless death, but if he wanted to live, he had to live honestly. Between the two choices, which was more important, dignity or survival? Wei Chang leaned on the sofa and said, "You gods are all hypocrites, I'm used to it. You say that I killed a lot of people, but you just killed a lot too. Do you think that my little brother is not worthy of you? I'll be honest with you. My little brother can poke you to death with just one finger. Don't think that you're number one in the world. You haven't even come into contact with terrifying things." Zishan tightly creased her eyebrows. She listened attentively and pondered carefully. Wei Chang whispered, "I know what you're thinking. Didn't you choose him because he's stupid? Do you really think he's stupid? He's just kind. Don't mistake honesty for foolishness. Also, don't think about going back, because your God has already decided your fate. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't think about anything, it won't kill you. You can leave now, and only he can save you and protect you. I hope you treat him well. At least you won't be wronged if you follow him." After speaking, Wei Chang turned around and went back into the kitchen, chatting with Tang Wei with a smile on his face. Sure enough, different women get different treatment. Zishan slowly leaned onto the sofa, and a feeling of powerlessness emerged from her heart. Looking at the foolish little brother read, "Is this really fate?" Instead of serving a prince, he came down to serve a human. Seeing that Zishan was looking at him, little brother Red immediately shifted his gaze away, not daring to look straight at Zishan. This isn't because he's angry, this is because he's shy. Just a moment ago, he was still angry at little brother Red, but right now, with just a glance from little brother Red, he immediately stopped being angry. What a little puppy. Looking at his little brother's cowardly look, Big Brother Green knew that his little brother would become a henpecked husband in the future. At this moment, Yihua's side had also left the house. The family of 4 was still in that Audi A8. The 2 wives sat at the front, while Yihua and his daughter, who was dressed up beautifully, sat at the back. "Daddy, fasten your seatbelt. Mommy, Aunt Qing, the 2 of you need to fasten your seatbelt. Ollie will be supervising the 2 of you." Dong Huangli acted like a little adult the moment she got into the car and began instructing the 2 of them. Yihua laughed, then silently took out a stick of cigarette. Dong Huangli could be seen snatching away her father's cigarette. "Daddy, you can't smoke in the car, Aunt Qing is still pregnant, and Mommy and the others can't inhale secondhand smoke. Ollie will pass the cigarette to Daddy after we get out of the car, I will keep it for you for now." Yihua laughed, and the 2 wives who were sitting in front of him laughed as well. Qingya laughed, "Our family's Ollie is still the best." After finished speaking, Qingya gave Ollie a thumbs up, praising her. Dong Huangli, who was praised, became even more proud of herself. "Yihua, listen to your daughter and smoke less." Dong Huang Baiji turned her head around and said with a smile. Yihua wrinkled his brows, "You 2 only give me 3 sticks of cigarettes a day, how much less do you want me to smoke?" "Yihua, it is good for you to quit smoking as soon as possible. You are already preparing to have a child with Baiji, yet you are still smoking every single day. You need to quit drinking as well," Qingya urged. "After I give birth to a child, I will definitely want another child. Right now, I need to change this bad habit of men." Dong Huangli followed along and said, "Daddy, smoking is not good for your body, this time, you need to listen to Mommy and Aunt Qing. Alright, these 3 are attacking me together, making me unable to fight back at all. Take it slowly," Yihua said. This could be considered as a compromise. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji had a gratified smile on their faces. Yihua is still quite sensible. "That's right, Qingya, that house that we bought, let's give it to Little Red as our wedding house. I don't want to move away from here, it is quite good to stay here," Yihua said. Back then, Qingya bought a villa and prepared to stay there. Right now, the villa was already renovated, but Chinya never went there. In actuality, Chinya didn't want to go there anymore. Although this bar was small, it had everything, and it was filled with a lot of memories. Chinya felt the same way too. In the beginning, she didn't want to stay here, and she even felt that this place was very dirty and messy. However, after such a long time, she really couldn't leave this place, because this place contained a lot of memories that she had with Yihua. Alright. Chinya nodded her head. Yihua opened the window, allowing the wind to blow into the bar. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at the city. Although he had stayed in the city for 5 years, he wasn't familiar with the roads at all. Because he rarely went out, he basically stayed at home and watched cartoons. A huge billboard attracted Yihua's gaze. Isn't this Lai Gu's wife? Should I consider retrieving Lai Gu's corporeal body? Wei Chang lived in an ordinary neighborhood, and the house that he lived in was rented. Yihua was thinking whether or not I should buy a house for Wei Chang as well. However, if I keep asking Chinya for money, it seems like I have no face at all. However, the money that I won from the bet is all with her. Although I have already given out the money, and it would be embarrassing for me to take back the money, I should at least show some appreciation, right? Right now, Wei Chang, Tang Wei, and the others were already waiting respectfully downstairs. Chinya saw the unfamiliar Zi Shan with a single glance, then asked curiously, Yihua, that woman is Little Red's wife. That's right, she's still alright. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.